Welcome to football's promised land, the Rose Bowl, nestled beneath the San Gabriel Mountains. Warm, sunny perfection on this New Year's Day, and a Rose Bowl game that represents both the changing landscape in this sport and the grand tradition of this game. It's a quarterfinal playoff, Midwest versus Far West, but neighbors in the Big Ten Conference. Welcome to the College Football Playoff quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl game, presented by Prudential. Spot in the semifinals at stake. Texas and Arizona State locked in overtime. A Sun Devil comeback, making things very interesting in Atlanta. Notre Dame, Georgia, as you may know, postponed until tomorrow evening as a response to the tragic terrorist attacks overnight in New Orleans. This is a rematch of a classic game, one of the season's best games, mid-October in Eugene. All the stars played really well, Kirk. There were 7 lead changes, 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, a game that you had hoped there might be some big plays on both sides. Ultimately, it came down to Oregon with a chance to win it. And this was the play. This is the play that has haunted Will Howard since this moment. Sliding, time runs out, and Ohio State waits for another shot, and they get it today.
Many thought they might square off for the Big Ten championship game. Now they do so here in the quarterfinal. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Happy New Year. Our privilege to call this game together for the 9th time. This is your 16th Rose Bowl.
Yeah, been doing a few of these.
I mean, there's a wrinkle, of course, with the CFP 12-team bracket, but it just feels right to have Ohio State and Oregon. Both teams, Kirk, tell us they've evolved a lot since that first meeting.
I thought what you said, in this new world that we're in, yet it's a bit of, feels like a throwback this week out in Pasadena with Oregon out here on the West Coast and Ohio State, obviously traditional power from the Big Ten. And here we are. You get a chance to get this rematch, but for these guys, it's not about the rematch. It's about these 60 minutes trying to win this game and advancing to the next round.
Focus on the quarterbacks, each in their first year at their schools. Dylan Gabriel, a career remarkable quantity and quality. First game against Ohio State, Kirk, the Ducks did what no offense came close to doing. They ripped them apart, throwing and running.
Yeah, they had a really balanced attack, and the big thing is they made big plays through the air. I mean, that was the difference. Ohio State not able to pressure Dylan Gabriel. He had a monster game. I think it gave him a great deal of confidence as he gets ready tonight inside this locker room here at the Rose Bowl. We had a chance to visit with him. He's not short on confidence. 63rd start in his career when you look at UCF, Oklahoma, and now at Oregon. So there's not a whole lot he's not seen, and yet at the same time, I think he's very anxious to get out in the field and lead his Ducks with another shot against the Buckeyes defense.
Trouble with the shoulder pads there. He'll get that sorted out. He's so calm, but he's also goofy in a way. He's loose. He keeps his team going. Will Howard, a great leader, different style of play, different style of leader. You talked about this. He told us he thought he could slide, and with 1 second to go, kick a game-winning field goal, misjudged it. He said he was very distraught.
Yeah, this really affected him in a big way, and I think he's been very outspoken about that. He shared a lot with us about how that impacted him from that moment, and he's been driven to get a chance to get back at not just Oregon, but get back at having a chance to play in these big games. He, I think, had a bounce-back game after Michigan. We called the game last week in Columbus against Tennessee. He was flawless. Ohio State's offensive line protected him, gave him a chance to make some big plays through the air, and they're going to look to try to do the same kind of thing, take care of him, get their running game going, be balanced, but his leadership will be the key.
There are so many stars on either offense. Which defense can step up and make a big play? Which team's going to have the ball last? It has that kind of potential to produce some Rose Bowl magic today, doesn't it?
You're exactly right. I mean, if it goes anything close to like the last matchup, it will be like Will Howard had. Will he get the ball in his hands with a chance to go down and maybe win the game? It won't be a different result. We'll see.
Plenty of scarlet, plenty of apple green here.
There's never been a path to a national championship like this. And in the end, one team will have done something no team has ever done. The College Football Playoff National Championship. Monday, January 20th, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN.
Something old meets something new.
Pasadena's famed Rose Bowl.
The granddaddy of them all. Born in 1902, and the brand new College Football Playoff.
Every phase of this game, Ohio State is just really dominating.
Touchdown, Ohio State! This was a scarlet smackdown.
You can tell from the jump that they had a look in their eye that they were going to go win this game.
While the Scarlet and Gray cracked the Vols' code. Number 1, waited in the wings.
We get an opportunity to go out here and tell them what Oregon football's about.
The undefeated Ducks are the door prize for the Buckeyes.
Finish! Everything you got left in the tank!
Who seek revenge.
Howard will run. Game is up. It's a final.
The way that last one ended doesn't sit right with me. I'm just thankful we get another crack at him. This is all we got. It's going to go home.
Ohio State. Oregon. A Rose Bowl classic. The future of college football has come to the game where history always holds on.
And welcome back. Seen as perfection. The ingredients are here. Winner goes on to Arlington in the semifinals. The loser will taste a bitter disappointment. The Ducks, of course, the only undefeated team. Ohio State's won all 3 previous meetings in the postseason. Rose Bowl separated by about 3 decades. And the national championship game in year 1 of the 4-team bracket, they won it in Arlington by 22 points. Ducks have won the last 2 de facto home-and-home series in recent years, including that game we talked about up in Eugene. Dan Lanning's team, top seed, unanimous #1 in both polls, and yet an underdog in this game today. A chance to become, with 3 more wins, the first ever 16-0 team in the modern era of big-time football. Unis are fan favorites. The apple green tops, white pants, and the shiny silver helmets. 24 days ago, they won the Big Ten championship, dominating Penn State, so 2 more weeks of rest than the Buckeyes.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Obviously, after a long grind to get to that Big Ten championship, and here come the Buckeyes.
From the frozen tundra of the Horseshoe, clobbering Tennessee, to sun-splashed Pasadena. Ryan Day, always concerned what the crowd balance is. What do you think it is here, scarlet versus green? Stormy Buonantony with us. Stormy has Ryan Day.
Coach Day, you and your players have been adamant about how different this version of your team is compared to the one that faced Oregon earlier this season. How do you need to see those changes on display here today?
We just got to play really, really hard. Get a fast start, figure out where we are at halftime, and play great in the second half.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck today.
Okay, thanks.
Ollie's on the Oregon side.
Well, Coach, it's been a long time since you've snapped a competitive ball in a game. Tell me what the focus is for energy and execution early.
The next play. We're focused on the next play. Excited to go see our guys perform.
Defense starts. How can you get off to a good start defensively?
A 3-and-out sounds nice. Why don't we do that?
Sounds great. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Grand Marshal Billie Jean King, she coined the phrase, pressure is a privilege. Pressure is real, Kirk, in these games. Who will respond to it? Who will avoid the mistakes and move on to the semifinals?
You couldn't ask for a better setting for these teams with so much at stake.
Dan Lanning mentioned, excuse me, that he's going to put his defense out there first, so we'll see this Ohio State offense right away.
We talk about this every time we come out here. It's opportunities a lot of these players dream about, playing in this kind of stage, and now it's a reality for a lot of them.
Energy unlike any other event. These folks, many have waited a lifetime to be here, and there's no place else they'd rather be than watching their team battle in Rose Bowl number 111. Atticus Sappington, transfer from Oregon State to kick it away. Emeka Egbuka at the goal line for Ohio State. Just like you, we hope we're in for something special here this afternoon in Pasadena. Egbuka will wave for a fair catch, and so the Buckeyes will start from the 25-yard line. Will Howard played the best game of his career against Tennessee. Tough conditions, Kirk. He was precise. He hit his downfield shots. They got off to a great start and never let up.
Think about what you just said. This guy's played a lot of football games. Coming off of that Michigan game, how well he and the offensive line and the entire offense played. I think Chip Kelly was masterful in the plan. I think Ohio State regained their confidence, and now they get a test again in a very different style of defense that Oregon plays. It's not the physicality of Tennessee or Michigan up front. A lot more movement, more stunts. Not as big, but much quicker with the way they play on this side of the ball.
G. Scott was the tight end. He motioned out. Howard looking to throw. Wide open. Down the sideline. It's Scott, the tight end. A little wrinkle on the opening play and a huge gain into Ducks territory of 30 yards.
Well, they moved G. Scott out in motion, just kind of like typical Chip Kelly. You motion him out, and once you move him out of the backfield, it's Chip Kelly. It's just, okay, let's throw the perimeter game real quick. No problem. Nope. Instead, they delay it, go down the sideline. Nobody picks him up. Oregon completely fooled. Chip Kelly on the very first play. The book on him is get the ball out on the perimeter. Quick pass, shows it, and then the tight end slides down that sideline. Great call on that first play.
Scott's become a weapon in these playoff games. Impact on the first play. Quinshon Judkins is the back. Howard fakes it to him. Rolls. Sideline throw over the head. Tried to get an early touch to Jeremiah Smith, who hurt the Ducks in that first meeting. I'm going to guess he's one of your impact players?
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. We're gonna look at him as my first impact player. When Ford's alone, one of the most elite, electrifying players in the country, they'll look to get the ball to him. Trevion Henderson and Junkins, who's in right now, 32-1. Birch is back, number one on the other side for Oregon. Did not play the first two times. The first time they played, he'll be back this time. And then you have Jabbar Muhammad. These corners are going to be on islands. They're going to need to hold up against these receivers.
Taking to Judkins again. And there is Smith roaming free. Breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. He's a prodigy. Looks like he's 25-year-old All-Pro in the NFL. And just like against Ducks in the first game, a quick strike for number 4.
Wow, what a job of not only executing, but like the Tennessee game, setting the tone. Ohio State took their first possession against Tennessee, scored 7, really shocked that Tennessee defense. And I think here again, against this Oregon defense with so much at stake, and just like that, after 3 plays, they're up 7-0 after this extra point.
Jaden Fielding with the PAT, less than a minute. Wrinkle early, then a lightning strike to the most dangerous receiver on the team.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with him yesterday. Very, very humble. Let's kind of take a look at this, and this is just out of the huddle. I want you to watch the Oregon defense as Jeremiah Smith moves from the left over to the right. Look in this back end. A little bit of confusion. Are we in man-to-man? Are we in zone? See him coming down late. A little bit of confusion. Now he comes, he's lost. He's completely lost. Now you've got great blocks downfield. Now it's one-on-one. Him against the free safety, Tysheem Johnson. Too big, too athletic, too fast in the open space. He makes him miss, but it started with the confusion on the Oregon side of not locating and understanding the coverage they were in, and then they ended up losing of all guys, Jeremiah Smith, on that squirrel route running from the right back to the left.
So Dylan Gabriel and this powerful Ducks offense in a quick hole here. Noah Whittington watches it bounce deep in the end zone. Gabriel's career is incredible. Those bars represent 3,000-yard seasons. 3 different stops, 6 years of football. Incredible. More than 14,000 passing yards, more than 15,000 total yards, chasing records.
I've never seen anything like that kind of production. 63 starts, and at this position, there's nothing more valuable to any quarterback than experience, and that's what he has more than anybody.
First play, Jordan James, their main running back, is going to be tracked down behind the line by Cody Simon. Can the Ducks get this running game going? The winner will face the Texas Longhorns. It was an adventure. They blew a 16-point lead, had a 4th down touchdown pass to get into overtime, and won it in double overtime over a game ASU team.
First of all, great job by Arizona State coming back to make it at a game, and a great job by Quinn Ewers in Texas answering the bell there in overtime to win it. 2nd and 11
throw. It is bobbled, but it messed up the timing in the play. And so it's just a short gain by Tez Johnson. 3rd down coming up. Welcome to Pasadena off that incredible finish in Atlanta. We'll try to top it here early stages. And Ohio State already has jumped on top. 3-play, 75-yard touchdown drive, less than a minute. This is Oregon's first possession. And Dylan Gabriel trying to convert on 3rd down, finds Jordan James, and he's going to be stopped just short of the marker. So the Buckeye defense gets off the field here quickly.
Ohio State did a nice job on the opening play to get this offense behind the sticks. Really attacking, aggressive. They play with a great deal of confidence. They played well all year. And after the big touchdown by Jeremiah Smith, the defense responds themselves with a 3-and-out.
Ross James on to punt. Will, of course, throw plenty of wrinkles at you in special teams. Brandon Innes is the returner for Ohio State. It's a low kick. Innes is going to win.
Fair catch. Ohio State will get the rock back at about their own 22-yard line. A little bit of chirping, but nothing too crazy. What will Will Howard and the Buckeyes do with their second possession after Jeremiah Smith has already touched paint?
Are you really? It's the Rose Bowl. Rematch game is going to be very intense.
It's a special day for the Buckeyes.
I've been looking forward to getting another crack at these guys.
It's going to take everything you got.
It's win or go home. Everything's at stake.
This program will fight tonight. 1-0.
It's a rare rematch in the Rose Bowl. First time two teams from the same conference have ever collided on this occasion. Ohio State from the 21 with a quick lead. Howard again from the pocket, well protected, takes a shot downfield, and going up and making the catch is Smith. And Ohio State, just like against Tennessee, clicking early.
They do a good job of, in that bunch formation, they get isolated one-on-one, and these are the matchups you knew you're going to see. Jeremiah Smith, incredible confidence, and he should. Goes up 6'3", 225 pounds, able to make that catch. Keep this in mind. Nico Reed is about, they list him at 5'10", he's probably about 5'9". Jabbar Muhammad listed at 5'10", also about 5'9". Difficult matchups and man-to-man against that man, Jeremiah Smith, and his size.
Ducks defense wasn't quite set when the play was snapped. Smith was pretty bold, by the way. He said, I cannot be covered one-on-one.
And here's an example of that. This is a play where Oregon was confused. They lost him in man coverage from the right back to the left. You get him in the open field. It's not just this guy's size. It's 6'3", 225. It's his speed and his body control and his ball skills that he has to go along with it. Already, Chip Kelly clearly going after that matchup to get Thor the football. Again.
Third catch, and Smith collects it and gets a first out of the 35, a dozen more yards.
Had they had him stacked up that time against Emeka Buka. This time they move him, create again a little bit more space. I don't know how he keeps getting lost, but I'm guessing Dan Lanning will get the defense over there and say, guys, no matter what the call is, we can't give him space when we play zone. You know, we've got to be able to have an awareness of where he is. We've got to squeeze him in zone, and if we play man, you better have a safety over top, or he's going to have a field day against his secondary.
Howard 4 of 5, already more than 100 yards, looking for more. Right down the seam, that's an overthrow. Carnell Tate pretty well covered. I'll tell you, this team, when they play with aggression and freedom, you can't believe what happened against Michigan. That kind of performance in a big game. They're so different when they attack this way.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it against Tennessee. You're seeing it here at the outset of this football game. I think the thing I want to just continue to go back to is the offensive line play. You know, they were very, people talked about them and what's wrong with them. To me, it's been what's right with them last week and the start of this game.
Howard up the play fake, is pressured and will not escape. He'll be dropped right near the line of scrimmage. Play made by Tuioti and Jordan Birch, the edge rusher who was not in the first matchup between these two guys. Talked about the Ohio State offensive line. Donovan Jackson, elite guard, slides to left tackle. Hinsman taking over for a guy who won the Remington Award, Seth McLaughlin, a unanimous All-American. Done well.
Yeah. I mean, he sure has. Hinsman has some experience, but anytime you take your leader away in McLaughlin, it's obviously going to take some time, but they have really stepped up, as we mentioned here, these last couple games.
Smith one-on-one to the left on third long, but Howard didn't have time to get him. Tried to check it down to Henderson, but the pass rush there of Jordan Birch, and the Ducks defense makes a stop. It's 4th and 10.
Yeah, I think this was, again, the guy, Jordan Birch did not play against Ohio State. He had a knee injury, missed that game. a lot of Oregon fans very excited to see what he could do in this matchup to get him back, because he can win one-on-one with his size. Keep in mind, this guy's 6'6", 290, but has some twitch to go along with it. And that time just beat Josh Fryer with power to get by him and get into the backfield.
Punt formation as Joe McGuire goes out there. They're not going to give fielding a chance for a long field goal. Of course, the Ducks will be alert for a fake here. And McGuire is going to try to kick it with backspin and pin the Ducks deep, and that is going to bounce into the end zone. So not what they were hoping for, as that eluded the gunner. So the Ducks, second possession coming up as Gabriel and Oregon try to get some traction here in the Rose Bowl.
The CFP quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl is presented by Prudential. Retirement is more than a lump sum. It's the sum of your life's work. Help protect it with Prudential. And in part by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. And Taco Bell.
Pressure is a privilege. Dylan Gabriel, Kirk, lives that. 3 games against the CFP field. Only quarterback to face 3 playoff teams. Look at the total yards and total touchdowns. And no interceptions in those 3 games against the Broncos, Buckeyes, and Nittany Lions.
Yeah, throughout his career, we talked about how he has 63 career starts at his 3 stops. He, like most of great ones, he usually steps up and plays his best football, especially utilizing his legs in these type of games.
Got behind the 6 on first down of their opening series, trying to gain a positive play in here, and out of the backfield, it's bobbled. And James able to get a couple of yards, tackled by Cody Simon.
This first matchup, you go back and think about it, Ohio State wasn't able to really pressure him. Didn't have any sacks, 32 points, 496 total yards, 341 through the air. All the worst in the year for the Ohio State defense. You know, they gave up 2 touchdown passes, and since then they've not given up a touchdown pass the rest of the year.
Gabriel backpedals, and ball is deflected, fluttered as JT Tuimoloau came around and got a hand on it. It's going to be 3rd and long.
It's a good job of timing that up. We were asking, you know, with the quarterback who's left-handed, does it affect you when you're trying to bat a ball down here? Being a left-handed quarterback comes back to really haunt.
Arm was going forward, Bill Lamont confirmed, so correct call of incomplete. But a tricky situation here now against this Ohio State front. They need 8 on 3rd.
Yeah, they got Ohio State spread out, go to the empty set, 3 to the left, 2 to his right.
3-man rush, Gabriel being spied across the middle, trying to fit it in, and it's incomplete. He's trying to find Tez Johnson in traffic between Downs and Hancock. It's another 3 and out.
Well, this is what Ohio State wants, no matter what down, is Caleb Downs right in the middle of the field to allow him to utilize his instincts, read the quarterback's eyes, almost comes up with an interception. So often you think of Caleb Downs and you think about what he could do as an alley filler. Here, almost with those instincts, comes up with a huge pick and now a chance to return the punt.
6 plays, 11 yards so far for the Ducks. Very different start. James, another line drive punt. Hits the ground. This doesn't bounce his way. Checks back. It's a poor effort. And Ohio State's going to have great field position. Just 33 yards on that boot. Will Howard brimming with confidence in our meeting with him, and it's playing like it so far.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams. The agile, get it done teams. The bold breakthrough teams. And the improve people's lives teams. The more than 10,000 strong research teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
the Chick-fil-A move on the field. Buckeyes are moving around pre-snap, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. Here's G. Scott goes in motion. You think he's going to be a blocker. Instead, they slide him down that right sideline. That's the first play of the game. Jeremiah Smith, you can see the confusion moving him. Oregon doesn't know if they're in man or zone on that side, so confusion. You don't want to lose number 4 in the open field. Got tremendous speed and able to do a lot of damage after the catch. So that was 3 plays on their opening drive and a touchdown.
Tough spot for the Ducks defense, who made a stop in Ohio State, had good field position last time. Got to try to do the same thing again. Emeka Egbuka catches a dart for about a 7-yard gain.
9 of 10 of his passes now, he's been able to sit back and work through progressions without worrying about the pressure. It's a combination, really good job of their play calls, keeping the defense on their heels, and the offensive line playing well.
Henderson, stutter step, and cannot quite get the edge, but it's enough to move the sticks for a first down to the 42.
No, he's averaging 7 yards a carry this year. He and Junkins together, just a really good tandem of backs that they have, and both of them electrifying when they get out in space. Thought in the Tennessee game, Henderson had an outstanding game.
Might see some more 2-back look. They're both such dangerous receivers. It really does stress the defense, doesn't it, when they're out there?
Yep. Serafeld has moved from the left guard over to the right guard, and Luke Montgomery played in that Tennessee game in at left guard.
Off the fake down the middle. Caught in stride. Egbuka touchdown. Buckeyes on fire. Will Howard picking up where he left off that frigid game in Columbus.
Boy, when he has time to throw and he has a chance to step into these throws, he continues to prove how accurate he can be with those downfield passes to these great receivers.
Aggressive approach, right? You get good field position off the poor punt, right down the seam to the almost forgotten receiver.
Yeah, right.
Egbuka, the veteran, the leader of that group, and he's also an NFL-bound player.
Well, here's the question. When you have Jeremiah Smith, you're going to force Oregon to put 2 safeties to protect the deep shot. When you do that, it opens the middle of the field. So that's what you're going to have. There goes Jeremiah Smith. You see the safety? We don't want to give 4 a chance. If you're not going to give 4 a chance, now you got to look at the middle of the field. And look, those 2 safeties are split. Great job of splitting those safeties with a great route by Emeka Egbuka. And an incredible throw over top of that nickel back there, Brandon Johnson. And we'll look at the focus and concentration. Wow. He actually touched that ball. The right hand bobbles, secures just with the right hand, and crosses the goal line for that touchdown. Really good look at it there, guys, for the touchdown there for the Buckeyes to go up 14.
That ball hit Johnson's hand, and Egbuka never lost focus.
And just brought it in with the right hand.
2 3-play touchdown drives for Ohio State. Oregon has not been 14 down this season. They only played 3 close games. 8 were blowouts. And this is a very different situation this season for Dylan Gabriel. Of course, in his career, he's done it all, experienced everything. But this is a test of poise here. They're going to have to find some answers and answer quickly, I think, here.
Well, this is where you rely on that experience of Dylan Gabriel to try to keep his composure here. You know, it was Ohio State that went into Autzen Stadium and had to overcome the adversity and dealing with the crowd noise. The Buckeye faithful now coming alive here as their defense comes back out of the field with a 14-0 lead.
Trouble on first down in both of these Oregon series. Little trickery here. End around for Tez Johnson. Doesn't get a chance to flash the speed as he is closed down quickly by Burke and Sonny Styles.
Boy, Sonny Styles showing the speed and the range. Watch him feel this and recognize it. Holds his ground. Now he sees it. Now it's a foot race. He's moved from safety to linebacker. Continues to get better. 6'4", 235. Denzel Burke coming up to also help Ohio State not fooled at all on that play.
Again, Oregon behind the 6 on second down. Gabriel to the perimeter, gets the ball to Johnson and skips out for a short gain. But again, it's going to be 3rd and long for Gabriel.
Ohio State already 3 plays of 30 yards or more, and a 4th play of 29 yards or more. The Ducks' longest play so far, just 5 yards. Complete domination here in this first quarter so far for Ohio State.
Ducks trying to work the perimeter. Will Stein is the talented young play caller, but Ohio State's all over it this time. They got hurt in the first meeting on the edge of the field, didn't they?
Absolutely.
2 tight ends motion in. Ohio State doesn't bring pressure. Gabriel has a lot of time, checks it down. This is Terrence Ferguson, and the big tight end is best buddies with Gabriel. Gets the Ducks first down.
Ohio State just rushing 3, dropping 8, keeping everything in front of them. The threat potentially of the scramble by Gabriel hurt Ohio State a bit with his legs in that first matchup. They forced him to check it down, and this is what Ferguson brings to the table. Almost just a check down there. He's got very good ability to make plays after the catch. 6'5", about 255 pounds. And at least maybe they get their footing now after picking up that first down.
James off the left side flashes the speed, and Jordan James picks up about 11, and doesn't take much to get this Oregon offense going.
No, they can go fast. They can get some tempo going. Ohio State lost the edge of the defense that time. Jack Sawyer kind of pinched in, and on top of him, Sonny Styles not able to come around and prevent that play from getting out the back door.
Clean pocket, downfield shot, and it's up in the air off the helmet of Igbenogson, trying to find Tess Johnson. Ball hung up a bit.
It did. You're right. I mean, this is what, you know, Ohio State's going to get some chances one-on-one. You knew Oregon's going to get some chances one-on-one. This ball, as you said, right off the noggin, right off the top of the head.
It's one way to break up a pass.
Well, it tells you he was phased. That ball brought Tez back just a little bit.
Deep shots by him and by Evan Stewart hurt the Buckeyes early. Johnson, by the way, limps to the sideline after that play.
Yep.
James swarmed, trying to make a cut and loses yards again. Big Ty Hamilton tackled Kenyatta Jackson.
Yeah, Chris, watch where Kenyatta Jackson comes from on the backside. Watch how he works. I mean, this play's designed to go to the right. Look at Big 97, blows up the block and then helps clean it up, along with Ty Hamilton.
3 or 4 negative yardage plays already forced by this Ohio State defense, and now 3rd and 12.
And he did that hard clap, showed a blitz there. See if Ohio State drops out of it. Oregon trying to make an adjustment to that blitz look.
You've got to hurry here. Play clock at 1. They just get it off. Gabriel delivers. Catch made. Juggled at the sideline. It's going to be short of a first down. They got Trayshawn Holden, the Alabama transfer, into Ohio State territory. But it's 4th down.
Yeah, Ohio State showed blitz. The check and the audible after he looked to the sidelines by Dylan Gabriel was to get the ball out of his hands quickly. They were expecting those 2 middle linebackers to be able to come on the blitz, so he wanted protection of the ball out quickly. And because of that, they're not able to get their routes down far enough to pick a first down.
They send out Luke Dunn, the Aussie, to punt, not the regular punter. But off that 31-yarder by James, they're going to give the Aussie a chance. It's a line drive boot down near the corner. That works out better. It was a promising drive for the Ducks. A couple of first downs. They get stopped, but at least they're able to flip the field. Ohio State takes over at the 9, up by 14.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who's got more, scarlet or green here. Goodyear providing the aerial coverage. Best seats in the house since 1925. Happy 100th anniversary to the Goodyear blimp.
Look at the beauty of this. I have people from back in Ohio saying, man, growing up watching the Rose Bowl, and there's the bracket.
Notre Dame, Georgia, by the way, 4 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN tomorrow. Pushback. The winner here, a week from Friday, will take on Texas in the Cotton Bowl in Arlington. Ohio State from inside their 10. Pitch it to Judkins, heading to the boundary. Big hit delivered, but he picks up about 5. Kobe Savage delivered the blow.
Yeah, Ohio State continuing to look to be aggressive. They're not going to let up in any way at all. And if you're an Oregon fan, you know, it's not always just about Dylan Gabriel. You saw special teams do their job, try to pin Ohio State inside the 10-yard line. If you're trying to get back into this game, you're either trying to get a 3 and out, you're trying to get a turnover, something to spark the Oregon team here. But Ohio State in total command of this game.
Hand off of the middle. Judkins is hit and driven to the ground. Derek Harmon, the Michigan State transfer, first-round projected player, makes that play, and it's 3rd down. Holly?
Tosh Lupoy, the defensive coordinator for Oregon, just got in his guy's face after that last series. They're connecting downfield for the Buckeyes. They said, we've got to get more pressure on the quarterback. You've got to get in his face. It's just got to happen. Pressure has been their calling card all year. 40 sacks. 38 tackles for loss. They're trying to dial it up more right now on this Ducks front.
Better be aware that Jeremiah Smith is on the left of the formation. Howard's looking that way, launching downfield. Catch made! He cannot be stopped. He beat Dante Manning that time. What a ball.
And look, they have a safety over top. Pretty good coverage, but he misses the football. Not able to locate the ball late. You got a safety over top right here. You just cannot allow Jeremiah Smith into the boundary to be able to make this catch, and Will Howard to make that kind of throw with a safety over there late to come over to help out.
Manning's a long, fast corner, not short on talent, but Smith, the ball is that precise and field day.
And Chris, he was in pretty good coverage there initially. It was just those last couple yards. He started to look for the football, and when he started to look for the ball went by him right into the hands of Jeremiah Smith.
Oregon territory off the fake. Howard rolling and flips it over the head of Smith that time. Rare inaccurate throw from Howard so far.
And then you could see the adjustment. That was the play they scored a touchdown earlier when they brought him from the right to the left. It was a touchdown. This time they bring him from the left to the right. And you have an Oregon player, Brandon Johnson, a nickelback, that actually tried to run with him. Jeremiah Smith, this guy's 6'3", 225, but he can run. He said he's never been timed in a 40 in a long time, and he said he's probably about a 4.4 in his mind.
3rd down again. Another chance for Oregon's defense to get off the field here. Howard has some protection. Ibuka's open across the middle. He eludes one man and is knocked down at the 32 by Johnson, but another 1st down.
Watch how they sneak him here. What I want you to also see is the linebacker, to me, kind of gets lost here in coverage. He's in position. He just no awareness for the ball and the route. And that's Jeffrey Bassett, who's the leader of this defense. And that time, just eyes on the quarterback instead of looking around, anticipating that route coming inside on him.
One of the best defenses this year in preventing yards after the catch. Barely 3 yards on average. And Ohio State's taken off with some huge gains after the catch so far today. Howard already over 200 yards passing.
Yeah, 212 in the first quarter. How about Jeremiah Smith first quarter? I mean, we thought Jackson Smith and Jigba, I can't remember if he went over 300 yards that day against Utah, but you got 118 yards receiving already for the true freshman.
Final 30 seconds of the quarter. Howard had 160 yards, Kirk, passing in the first quarter against Tennessee. So fast starts have been featured in the postseason. 2-back look here. On the edge, Judkins is going to bounce off a man. And Brandon Johnson couldn't get him down. And we'll set up 3rd and 5 here as the seconds will tick down at the end of the first quarter. Ohio State, 2 3-play touchdown drives. Pass game is on fire, and it's 14-0 after 1 quarter here in Pasadena. You're watching the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential on ESPN, a CFP quarterfinal.
There's never been a path to a national championship like this. As the final teams take the field, everyone will know this one is bigger. And And in the end, one team will have done something no other team in the history of college football has ever done. The College Football Playoff National Championship, Monday, January 20th, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN.
Set for the second quarter, college football playoff quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential. Dominant first quarter for Ohio State, 233 total yards, 37 for Oregon. The Buckeyes with a third down played open the second quarter, trying to add to the damage.
Already converted a couple third downs, 3rd and 4 and a 3rd and 5. They face another 3rd and 5 here.
Smith off to the left. Jabbar Muhammad covering him. Henderson is the back. Howard looking over the middle, and it's incomplete. Tried to find Smith there. Jabbar Muhammad sprinted across. I believe he got a hand on it.
Yeah, watch. Again, you have the two high safety looks, so you got to work the middle of the field. He gets a little bit impatient. If he would have waited, he had just enough time to step up, and he had all alone Carnell Tate in the middle of that defense of Oregon for a first down.
So Jaden Fielding for his first field goal attempt, 46. He was 9 of 10, missed 2 against Michigan, had to battle for his job. Missed the only attempt against Tennessee, but that was a 56-yarder on a cold night, and this is right down the middle. So Ohio State takes 10 plays, 63 yards, and adds to the lead. 17-0 now. Time now for the Now What moments, presented by Prudential.
Now what is number 4. Just
him again.
When in doubt, I think Ohio State came in with a plan, much like the Tennessee game. Jeremiah Smith is a very different receiver from the time these two teams played earlier in the year. I talked to Brian Hartline on the field, said, tell me about him. We've talked, this week, but he said, man, he's just like anybody you would expect. He's recognizing coverage, plays so much more with confidence, so much more physical. I think I asked him yesterday, I said, what's your biggest advantage out there just going through this year? He said, probably my size. That's the thing I think has been the difference. It's 6'3", 225, and there's some guys you want to compare him to. I think Terrell Owens reminds me a lot of a young T.O. Julio Jones, of course, had a great career at Alabama, went on to have a brilliant career in the NFL, but those are some of his favorite players. He also brought up Andre Johnson, a great Miami Hurricane, went on to have a great career for the Houston Texans. So talking about a one-of-one type of receiver, this guy's only a true freshman.
19 years old.
And we're comparing him to guys like that. There's Chris Carter.
I mean, Ohio State fans get to enjoy him for a couple more seasons, Kirk, but let's be real. If he were draft eligible, I mean, he's going quickly.
Yeah, he's an elite player, but it's not even on his mind. He's talking about how much work he has to do. One of the most humble young superstars I've ever been around, and just talking to him and making that wide receiver room of Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Marvin Harrison and so many more. Very, very proud of what he's doing.
So it's a 3-score game. They try the run up the middle, and Jordan James has had very little room. You can hear the pads pop. Lathan Ransom delivered the blow.
Yeah, it's a safety that's coming down. That's not a linebacker. That's a safety that's anticipating a run, and bang, makes a big hit just like that. He hit like a linebacker. Ransom, a veteran in that back end for the Buckeye defense.
Are they all veterans?
They are.
The 53rd game. There's so many guys in this defense who have played so much football at a high level. 2nd and 7. James has really yet to make an impact play. They're going to pitch it to him here. He makes a cut, but right back into heavy traffic. It's going to be 3rd and medium now.
I talked in the meeting with you and others about that yesterday. I said there's a perception out there that Ohio State went out and bought all these players, all at $20 million, and the reality is this is their defense. Look, this is their starting defense. 5th year, 5th year, 5th year, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3. That's how many years. He just got a couple of the transfers that are helping. And Davidson, he's been here for a couple years. Caleb Downs, the big transfer. That's one guy on this defense that has come in to help this defense. The rest of these guys have been around for 4 or 5 years playing.
Spent some money on offense. They're down. It's a low throw, but Trayshawn Holden goes down and makes the catch feels like down 17. Something's got to happen for Oregon's offense in this possession.
Yeah, hit a free release. Ohio State had soft coverage. Dylan Gabriel going to go fast here. Good job of getting his hands. Looks like he got his forearms underneath to hold that football.
James off the right side, holding a guy that was involved in an unfortunate spitting incident. Made a play early in the game, then spit. Nick Bonos and him was ejected from the game the first time. So trying to atone today.
Here's Caleb Downs again, Chris, in the middle of this defense. Plays it a lot like a linebacker. Jim Knowles plays with its 3 safety look, and Caleb Downs is kind of a hybrid. They ask him to do a lot. They rely on his instincts. Jim Knowles said, you know, I spent 3 hours. 3 hours. He said, I felt like I was getting ready for a interview to get a job, talking to him to make him leave Alabama, come to Ohio State.
Tyleik Williams makes the stop inside. Jordan James, and it's going to be 3rd down again. They need 8s. They're being patient with the running game, but James has nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. It was funny, Knowles telling us that. He said, you know, when we sat down with him, he decided he was going to transfer. He said, I was prepared, and he said, he and I alone talking football in my scheme for 3 hours until he finally said, all right, I'm coming to Ohio State.
It's a hard sell.
He said, I feel like I was being interviewed for 3 hours.
Noah Whittington is the back. Another difficult challenge against this Ohio State defense. They bring pressure, ball out quickly, catch made, getting rocked is Tez Johnson. He's short of the marker. Jordan Hancock delivered the blow. Let's see what Dan Lanning decides to do here on 4th down, down 17.
They brought that simulated pressure. They knew the ball would come out in a hurry. The safety's doing a really good job of anticipating that quick throw. And I really think that Dan Lanning is sensing what you and I are sensing. You give up 17 to this Ohio State offense, you can't afford to get down by many more. They got to go for it.
Big play, early 2nd quarter. They need 3 yards, and timeout taken by Ohio State on defense. They got to look at the formation. Day knows how big a play this is, too. A chance to get the ball back near midfield and build on this lead. Big moment here. Ducks on the road, on the ropes, down 17, needing to convert on this 4th down. They targeted Tez Johnson, their top receiver, 5 times, Kirk, but it's only produced 13 passing yards. Evan Stewart, 2nd leading receiver, hasn't yet been targeted. Terrence Ferguson, a potential weapon at the tight end position here. Just find a way to get 3 yards and get into Ohio State territory and begin to hit back if they can. Whittington is the back. It's Tez who comes in motion. Gabriel threw it off the hands of Cody Simon. It was thinking pick 6. A little pressure there, and Ohio State gets a stop near midfield.
Again, this look that Jim Knowles has gone to with the 3 safety looks keeps Caleb Downs in the middle, and I want you to watch the defense anticipate these inside routes. Watch Cody Simon right here take away. There's just nobody open. They feel it, and then they're able to bat it away on 4th down. And that's just really good understanding of the scheme, using your eyes, understanding the awareness of the receivers coming into your area. Simon almost steps in front of that, intercepts it, takes it back for a touchdown.
Ducks averaging just 3 yards per play in their 20 snaps so far.
Be ready for a shot. If you don't have a safety over top, Chip Kelly in plus territory.
Tight ends bunched off to the left. And they feed the ball up the middle, and that's Judkins who falls forward for about 5. Talked about the importance of the 2 quarterbacks. Gabriel with the gaudy stats, 3rd in the Heisman Trophy voting. But look at the performance by Howard so far. 212 passing yards, a couple of touchdowns. Hasn't been pressured that much.
Talk about a guy walking around with just a ton of confidence. Number 18.
See if they take a shot here. Howard looking to launch right down the middle. Smith is wide open. Too easy.
One play off.
They're carving up a Ducks defense that was pretty elite this season. And number 4 making good on his talk pregame. cannot be stopped so far.
Wow. Right now, Dan Lanning's defense, it's not just a matter of making plays, it's confusion. It's Chip Kelly, it's formation into the boundary, it's motioning out of that. I mean, everybody in the world knows you can't leave number 4 all alone, and yet he is. And why is that?
That's what the Duck fans are asking.
Yeah, I don't want you to just watch the motion by Emeka Egbuka. I want you to watch the Oregon defense on the back end respond to the motion. They're trying to get on the same. Look at them. They don't know what's going on, and there he is right in the middle of the field. Look, free release. Nobody jams him. No chance that safety is going to stay with Jeremiah Smith. Give Chip Kelly all the credit in the world for this plan again that he's come up with. The offense is executing, and Oregon's defense is lost and down 24 here in the second quarter.
The CFP quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential, is brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands. And Gatorade. It fuels the best because it is the best.
All Ohio State so far. All Jeremiah Smith.
Look at the safety turns one way. I mean, by the way, that's nothing against Oregon and Tysheem Johnson. That's the AT&T connected cam. But you're looking at one of the most gifted receivers we've seen in a long time with a free access, running full speed at you at 15 or 20 yards. He turned you one way, turned the other way. I don't know if there's a free safety in the NFL that could have stopped him on that route.
It's a Dan Lanning and Tash Shipway coordinated defense that is dizzy right now and in deep trouble. The offense hasn't been able to answer that fourth down stop near midfield. Made it feel urgent. Stormy Smith is just, he's doing what he said he was going to do, didn't he?
Exactly, and you guys talked about it. What a humble kid he is, but his confidence has been building, and he's living up to the words he spoke on the podium earlier this week. And I even asked him, hey, how do you feel about daring Oregon's defense? Did you poke the bear a little bit? He said, I dared him, but I'm not scared. And he said if he sees a one-on-one situation at all, he's just going to smile because he knows he's going to win. His quarterback, Will Howard, by the way, moments ago said, pedal to the metal, buddy.
Now, Howard has been extremely precise on his deep shots, just as he was against Tennessee. Ducks still trying to get something going, and again, losing yards on first down. It's been a pattern.
Yeah, Tyleik Williams is having a game himself. So much focus on the defensive line. It's like Jordan James, their starting running back. We knew he was out, but now he's headed to the locker room. It's a big loss for this offense, but so much focus for the Buckeyes. Defense goes to the edge, but Tyleik Williams is a veteran, plays with power and quicks, really owning the middle right now, that Oregon interior.
Gabriel on second down, pitch to the edge. Yeah, that's bad news. 1,200 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns for James. Remember Dylan Sampson, SEC Offensive Player of the Year for Tennessee, made no impact against Ohio State. He left the game early in that game as well.
Sure did. Yeah, and they're obviously in predictable play calling right now, down 24. But they don't have a lot of depth in that backfield. They're going to turn to Noah Whittington.
Gabriel just still searching for answers. 63rd start. Very, very few, if any, have looked like this, and certainly none this season. Play clock at 5. Buckeyes rush 4. Gabriel has time, but now runs out of it on the move. Low throw is into danger. Caleb Downs, who had a pick in the Rose Bowl last year for Alabama against Michigan, was close to a pick there.
Boy, it's almost his second that he came close to. Again, this guy can do it all. He's basically the Jeremiah Smith of the defense. You know, he's that important. He's coming from the middle of the field. That's where they put him in this 3-safety defense look to allow him again to just kind of roam, let him see it. his recognition to transition as good as Jim Knowles has ever been around.
Ducks have not been able to effectively stretch Ohio State's defense with shots. It's all been near the line of scrimmage. That's not unusual for them, but the gains after the catch have been negligible. Gabriel just 54 yards passing. Ohio State, great history here in the Rose Bowl, in this new look Rose Bowl. Somewhere Woody and company are smiling at what they've seen so far here.
Those are two big guys to be out for Oregon right now. I'll try to keep you updated.
And the bad news gets worse. Trevion Henderson is loose down the sidelines, all the way to the end zone. It's a Crimson avalanche here in Pasadena, 66 yards.
Well, we talked about how good he looked last week against Tennessee. Such fresh legs. So it's been all about Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith for the most part. It's been all about the passing game. We were talking at the break about, they haven't really had to turn to the running backs. And now they show the dominance that they have and how complete they can be and how balanced they can be with Trevion Henderson getting his hands on the ball.
Yeah, 6 drives. They've scored 5 times. 4 of them touchdowns. Explosive plays. That was a big feature in the first meeting for both teams. It's one-way traffic here in Pasadena.
It's starting to look like Chip Kelly's offenses at Oregon. He scored in a minute 05, 43 seconds, and 11 seconds. And here's the counter. They ran this, I think, 18 times against Tennessee. Pulling the backside guard, pulling the backside tackle. In order to do that, you need good blocks on the front side. And now you get him in space. His secondary, they've had a rough day just trying to defend the speed of Ohio State and Jeremiah Smith in the passing game. Now you got to come up and run support and deal with this guy. Man.
Touchdown drives were 3 plays, 2 plays. And of course, that was a 1-play sprint by Henderson. 21 minutes or so, 31 points. This is a serious test of will for Oregon and mettle. They are reeling. I mean, it's all they can do to, keep any sense of hope. But this guy is as stunned as anybody. I think the way his defense has been overmatched so far.
Yep. I think Ohio State, talking to their coaches, I don't necessarily think that they're stunned. I don't think they thought it would be like this, but I think they're very confident with the matchups. I asked Chip and I asked the offensive coaches, what do you think of you like the Jeremiah Smith matchup? Yeah. Do you like the Buka matchup? Yeah. We like all the matchups, and I think they're showing that right now with this start to this game. There's Jeremiah Smith.
Kelly, of course, it was a figure that helped elevate Duck football. Got to the championship game, lost a close one to Auburn. And Chip stepped out for the moment. But when he went to UCLA, wasn't able to beat Oregon his old team, and didn't win the first matchup, but as in the flow, as they say. And what is not flowing is this Oregon offense. I mean, you try to work the running game again. James is not there, and you lose yards again.
Let's just all take a step back for a second. 8:30 to go in the second quarter in the Rose Bowl. In a quarterfinal playoff game, Oregon is 13-0. They're undefeated. They've been 13-0 all year. They beat Ohio State in Eugene earlier this year, and it's 31-0 with 8:14 to go in the second quarter.
Batted down off the edge. That's Jack Sawyer, co-captain of this defense, who does that very well.
Well, it makes sense that Will Stein would say, well, what can I go to slow these guys down? Let's try to get a screen. Maybe that'll work, but instead, that's what impressed me so much about these defensive ends. If they don't get a sack or they don't get to the quarterback, they're so athletic that they have the ability to still impact the play by batting the ball down. He did it a number of times last week against Tennessee.
Des Johnson, by the way, back on the field for this 3rd and 12. Gabriel has time this time, rolls out and flings it along the sideline, and it's incomplete. Again, there was Caleb Downs tracking that way, breaks it up, and Oregon will have to punt yet again. 4th 3 and out today.
Again, I keep saying about Caleb Downs, you might want to go away from number 2. Now, number 2 on third downs, he has cover ability like a corner, but he's a safety. And he plays backyard football. On every third down, he just waits for the crosser to come, he locates it, and then plays great in man coverage.
You got to find him in the running game because he's a beast defending the run.
Got to find him on every snap.
Downs, by the way, is another ugly punt. Sliding fair catch. He's the only unanimous All-American in this game. Seth McLaughlin for Ohio State was, but he got injured, and he's a sophomore. Sophomore unanimous All-American. That is a very, very high honor. Very few of those guys.
Yeah, very, very few. True, even as a true freshman last year when he's in Tuscaloosa, Nick Saban of all people, many good players as he had a special relationship, special appreciation for Caleb Downs. And when he retired, that's when Caleb Downs decided to open it up and see where he might go. And that's why I mentioned Jim Knowles was one of the coaches he sat down with, and after 3 hours of talking with the Ohio State defensive coordinator, he decided he would head to Columbus and play for the Buckeyes.
What if Chip's back in position here, call plays, and he's going to call another shot? You figure they're not going to throttle back.
No.
Of course, even a handoff has the ability to produce an explosive play. This is Judkins, who just barrels into Oregon territory. What about this Duck defense? I mean, it's a pretty shocking performance, really, on every level.
Yeah, it is, and I think the defense right now, they've lost their stinger a bit because of the way their own offense is playing against the Buckeyes defense. They have never experienced anything like this.
Defense known, Kirk, for relentless effort, chip on their shoulder, great communication, all the intangible things you want a defense to have, not there at the moment. Judkins, and he's going to be slung down at the 41 after another solid gain on first down.
And you're also talking about Dan Lanning. If you talk to the not just Ohio State coaches, but really any of the college coaches, the entire coaching fraternity, Dan Lanning has as much respect for his defensive acumen as anybody. He came up with, with Nick and Kirby Smart, Tosh LaPoise, the defensive coordinator. Their scheme, again, if you go to clinics, people point to these guys as defensive gurus, but end of the day, it comes down to X's and O's and one-on-one matchups and who's better. Right now, it's been Ohio State.
Abuka, little pop pass, and Oregon able to chase him down at the corner. Tackled about a 1.5 yards, 2 yards short of the marker, picked up 4. Jeffrey Bassam made the tackle. Again, Texas up that incredible game, up 16. Arizona State forces overtime. Texas completes a 4th and 13 touchdown pass. Eventually, touchdown 2-point conversion in the second overtime secures the victory. And again, it'll be a home game for the Longhorns in Arlington a week from Friday. And whoever faces this Ohio State team is going to need all the help they can get. That's Howard just leaning forward. I mean, it's a sneak from like 2 yards away, and he got it easily.
There's nobody over the center here, Hensman. And I'm with you. Look at this. I mean, they just surge through here. There's nobody over the center. And 3rd and 2, he picks up about 3.5. They wouldn't dare take another shot. Jeremiah Smith jogs back out in the field. Anytime they get 1st and 10 in plus territory.
He's off to the left.
All systems alert.
And he's got it on the reverse. Smith hasn't been used as a weapon in the running game all that often. Picks up about 5 there.
I think the game plan was, let's get the ball to 4. Ready, break.
That's why you're a sharp analyst, man. You're all over it.
No, I'm just saying.
You spotted that.
No, from the beginning, on the chalkboard, in the locker room. 4, when in doubt, just get him the football.
Pretty much the same game plan against Tennessee, first round.
Yeah.
But even more pronounced today.
Just get him his touches. How many touches did he have in the last game of the regular season? Only a couple.
Yeah, couple targets. There's a chance for Carnell Tate, who's a really talented receiver himself. He's the 3rd guy on this season. Big, tall player from Chicago, picked up 10 yards. A lot of teams, he'd be a feature receiver.
He is 6'3", 191 pounds, and will continue to grow and become an elite receiver. Boy, Brian Hartline, he knows how to recruit great receivers. He knows how to develop these receivers, and they all leave and head to the NFL and do great things up there as well.
They get coached hard, and that's what Smith has talked about. Hartline has very high standards. Funky look here in the backfield. Why not? Take a shot, and that's a shot for Tate in the corner. It's a rare inaccurate downfield throw. Nico Reed was in coverage. He's been so precise on the shots so far.
Well, again, that's a run pass option. So Will Howard has the ability to hand that off and give it to Ibuka, or he looks out there and he sees one-on-one. And again, when he sees one-on-one, it doesn't just have to be Jeremiah Smith. It can be any of these receivers that he feels have a favorable matchup. He can abort the run play and take those shots. And you give a quarterback that freedom, he's going to take those shots every chance he can.
Judkins on 2nd and 10. Knocked down after a short gain. Bryce Betcher and Brandon Johnson combining. So 3rd and long. Comfortably in field goal range. Howard talked about the improvement he made physically. He was like 245 when he got there. There's some portal weight that he put up, but he played much bigger at Kansas State. Really kind of leaned down, rocked up in the offseason. And then zone shot. And it's over the head of Henderson, who is covered by Betcher, the linebacker. And his 4th down. Here comes the field goal team.
Yeah, that was man coverage. Betcher, the baseball player who's really developed as a linebacker at that time, eyeing Trevion Henderson the whole way. Good coverage there on that 3rd down play.
Betcher, an interesting story, double walk-on baseball, which was his main sport. Eventually got drafted this summer by the Astros. Spring training next up for him. One of the leaders of this Oregon defense, and it's going to be an interesting conversation in the Oregon locker room at halftime. You wonder what Lanning's approach is going to be. Fielding has been precise. Everything clicking for Ohio State. Knocks the field goal through, and the lead is 34. Now, this had all the makings of another classic. That first game, those 7 lead changes, knockouts by Ohio State. I mean, what do you do if you're the Oregon side? You got to come back out for the second half. It's required.
Well, I think you play not only for pride. You're still a competitor. You're thinking about, hey, if we can get a touchdown kind of thing. But there's just nothing has gone right. Even the punting hasn't gone well. They can't run the football. They're losing the line of scrimmage on both sides. They can't get Gabriel every time he drops back to throw. His receivers are covered. And his starting running back right now is in the locker room. So offensively, you're just trying to get one small thing, a 1st down. I don't think they've been in plus territory yet. No, they have not crossed the 50-yard line yet.
They got close in that 4th down, but that was the moment when they had a chance to maybe stop the bleeding.
Yeah,
weren't able to come up with it. Again, you said it well. Particularly about a 13-0 team, the only undefeated team, won the Big Ten in their first year, and in complete command in a lot of their games, and it just came unraveled in the first couple minutes here. Goodyear providing the aerial coverage. 100 years of being an American icon, the Goodyear blimp.
I mean, they also have run into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
That Ohio State-Michigan game, I don't want to say it was like an anchor that was released, but Ohio State obviously a different team. These last 6 quarters, they've scored 71 points with almost 1,000 yards of offense.
I mean, there's a play fake. Nobody's respecting the running game at this point in a 34-point game, and the check down produces just a yard or so.
Now, that check down's an extension of the run game, but I'll tell you, the guy that needs to be talked about more in the middle of that defense is Cody Simon, a guy that's been around and been through a lot. He leads his team in tackles, leads the way, wears the green dot, communicates, gets everybody aligned. He's having a heck of a game in the middle.
Johnson, I mentioned he's back in the game. He's slot left. Again, Evan Stewart not been involved. They've got great tight ends. Kenyon Sadiq, Terrence Ferguson. These are great athletic tight ends. Just have not been able to make any impact so far. Wow. 2nd and long. Middle run, picks up 4. And see if they get another play out before the 2-minute timeout.
I don't think they're in a big hurry.
Seconds will tick down, and we'll pick it up on 3rd and 5 on the other side of this 2-minute timeout. The Ducks reeling. A dream season up until this point has been a nightmare for the first 28 minutes for the most experienced quarterback in college history. And on the other side, Will Howard in the flow again. Here's Reese Davis. He'll be joined by Dez and Joey Galloway. Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Highlights of that classic Peach Bowl, the double overtime win for Texas. And dying to hear those guys chew on what they saw in the first 30 minutes here.
And they've seen what we've seen, this complete domination in every phase by Ohio State.
3rd and 5 for the Ducks.
This Caleb Downs just kind of roaming in the middle of that defense.
Gabriel moves around to create some space, and there's Ferguson, tight end, and whip back behind him to make the grab for 10 yards and a first down to the 40.
That's the first time we've had a chance to see Gabriel get out and find an open receiver. He has the ability to create, but he just hasn't had anybody open to throw the football to. That time, off the scramble, his tight end works in sync with him.
There's a lefty who can roll to his right and still deliver accurate throws. This time he's rolling to his left to look to throw downfield. Does launch, and it's going to be overthrown. Had the feeling of a prayer there. Denzel Burke was in coverage, and he was in front.
Jim Knowles telling us, Burke had a tough game the last time he went up against his offense. He said, we're going to stay on top. Stay on top means give him a cushion. Do not let him get behind you. You can see Burke with that cushion, has plenty of speed, and is in great position there to defend that threat downfield pass.
That's a good spot by doing that. Johnson kind of gave up on the right. He didn't sprint. He kind of said, I'm not going to get past him.
Yep.
Rolling out again. Gabriel trying to spin free and cannot escape. He'll be sacked by Tuimoloau. Loses 6.
But Tuimoloau gets the sack, but again, I'm going to go back to 91 in the middle. Tyleik Williams, watch what he does right here, and he's able to kind of get a push. That's important against Dylan Gabriel. Gabriel likes to step up. He stepped up into about 340 pounds of Tyleik Williams, and then he had to get out to the outside, and JTT brings him down.
Couple of sacks against the Volunteers. These guys can continue to feast. The running game at this point seems irrelevant and never really got going in the first place, but you got to beware the pass rush really every time out now. Gabriel, downfield shot, left alone is Trayshawn Holden, slips a tackle, tight ropes, makes a cut, and is going to be knocked down near the Ohio State 20. First real explosive play. Ransom missed the tackle. They pick up 44.
Watch big Ignosin, number 1, kind of gets lost here. He comes up on the running back that came out of the backfield, and it really felt that the receiver was Holden was as surprised as anybody.
First snap in Ohio State territory. Long horizontal throw. Whittington makes the catch. Downs knocks him down. So a spark of life for the Ducks to at least get on the scoreboard here. 16 seconds. They do have all 3 timeouts.
Boy, what a play by Gabriel here, really, on this entire drive, just keeping plays alive. His offensive line continues to get whipped up front, and once again, look at this. I mean, how do you like to be the quarterback? You drop back to throw a little pump fake, and now here they are again with the pressure from Ohio State. Canoe that time got in there. They're rotating a lot of bodies, so that's almost a sack. But the escape and then the jump pass as a check down and give them a chance there out there.
The pressure forced them to take a lot of time. They used some time on that play, didn't gain very many yards. So just 16 seconds to work with, trying to find the end zone here.
Yeah, you still have the 2 timeouts, couple shots downfield.
Hold on, Bill Lamagna. We've had no penalties yet today, but Bill Lamagna wants to buzz in. What do you got to say,
I'm
Bill?
not going to jinx you on that, but replay had a late buzz on the previous play because the receiver stepped out of bounds, came back in, was first to touch, but there was contact that put him out of bounds. So it wouldn't have been a foul.
I saw hands by the corner, but he didn't necessarily push him. It was the fact he had hands is enough.
It resulted in him stepping out.
Okay.
So a good call. They didn't miss it.
I think it was a good no call by the officials.
Again, They put a second back on here, so there's 17 to go. Gabriel back pedals, taking time again on the move, and he's going to run out of bounds. Again, short pickup, and he used 7-8 seconds on that, down to 9 to go.
Yeah, 7 seconds off. You know, when you have 16 seconds and you're down 34 to nothing, this is about getting back, trying to find these seams, hitting these vertical shots, getting the ball to your hands quickly, and trying to give yourselves 3 shots potentially into the end zone with these 2 timeouts. Just no one's open in that back end.
Quick release here across the middle, short gain, and getting knocked down at the 5 as they take a timeout with a couple seconds. Is Whittington. Now you just got 1 play to try to get into the end zone. I assume they're not thinking field goal here.
Dan Lanning bringing the offense over to talk to him. I mean, you got to obviously be thinking about, you know, there's some coaches would just want to get points on the board. There's others that would want to be aggressive and go for a touchdown. I vote for a touchdown, a shot at the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about having any chance of
absolutely
threaten Ohio State. Again, I'm with you. A lot of underneath stuff, time-consuming stuff on this possession
Ohio
here.
State's much like they did against Tennessee, they're taking away that intermediate to deep shot downfield with the coverage they play with that 3 safety look. Just nothing downfield. Ohio State's willing with their pass rush to make him check it down or scramble to try to create, but within that offensive structure, he's having a hard time getting the ball downfield.
Goal-to-go offense is one of the few weaknesses for the Oregon offense this year. Buckeyes are elite in situations like this. 3 seconds, 1 play to try to get on the board before the break here.
They're going to go with that quick huddle. No rush. Yep.
Empty backfield, 5 receivers, 3 to the left. And a whistle before the snap.
Yeah, Ryan Day called a timeout.
Coaching right down to the final seconds here. Got to look at the formation. It's been tough to run it in from close. Very tough to throw it into the end zone against this Ohio State defense. Been a key factor. One of the things that Oregon did not do well in that first game against the Buckeyes was the red zone efficiency, these goal-to-go situations. Look, first, that is elite 38%. You get in the red zone, that's all the touchdowns they allow.
The one that stands out to me is the Penn State game. You know, that goal line stand they had late in that game. They got the big stop there, and the Ohio State offense ran the clock out by just running the football. They never threw another pass and killed the clock, but it started with that goal line stand.
Ohio State and Texas defenses this year both have been known for making goal line stands. To see the Buckeyes can keep Oregon off the scoreboard. Whittington shifts to the right here. A lot of time on the play clock. Gabriel from the pocket, scanning. Nobody open on the run. Can he get there? Flips it late and touchdown. He finds Trayshawn Holden in the back of the end zone. And with triple zeros on the clock, Oregon finally on the board.
Yeah, he once again had to make a play, and it's what he does so well. It's an underrated part of his game. Make sure he catches it, secures it, and gets the foot down. And yes, of course he does. They're going to go for 2, but what an effort there by Dylan Gabriel. Nobody open initially. The way that Ohio State pass rush has been closing in on him, they did again. But he was able to step up this time into the pocket.
You know, Holden, by the way, who's has a crazy career between Bama and here. He's played with 5 different Heisman Trophy finalists. The 2 quarterbacks, Nix and Gabriel, and 3 guys at Alabama, including Devontae Smith. Rex trying to cut the lead to 26 at halftime. Gabriel on the move across the middle and connects. Justice Love with his 20th catch of the season. And Oregon with 8 late points and a 75-yard, 10-play drive. And something finally for the folks in green and yellow to cheer about here.
Yeah, they come up with what they needed to do. They had to put a drive together. They get the touchdown, the 2-pointer, and they get the ball to start the second half.
Let's get Dan Lanning's reaction to this first half. Holly?
Coach, what did you find offensively on that drive and conversion that you can build on in the second half?
We got a lot to continue to work on, right? But it's great to go get a score there in that at the end of the half, build a little momentum as we carry this into halftime.
Thank you so much, Coach. Let's go over to Stormy with Ryan Day.
Coach Day, it took until the final seconds for Oregon to get on the board, but your defense suffocating throughout. What can they do to continue that in the second half?
Well, we got to do a good job on third down. We gave up the explosive play, and then we just didn't hold up there at the end. And they got the ball to start the second half, so we got to come out and do a great job in the first 4 to 5 minutes here. We got to get a stop coming out of half, turn around and score here. But overall, up until that point, I felt like we were winning the line of scrimmage and we were winning third down.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Similarities to the first round game against Tennessee. Fast start, throwing haymakers, huge lead to protect. Oregon will try to do what Tennessee did, make a push to challenge this great Ohio State team. There's the touchdown on the 2-point conversion, but 26 points at the break. First touchdown pass they've allowed, by the way, since the first meeting. Mercedes-Benz halftime report is coming up after these messages. The Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential on ESPN.
Welcome to the Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
Complete and utter domination in the first half by Ohio State. Emeka Egbuka, the big touchdown catch. Jeremiah Smith went off in the first half, 34-8. Ohio State has the lead on Oregon. Oregon, the first AP #1 team to be behind by at least 31 since Notre Dame in the national championship game against Alabama 2013. Reese Davis, Joey Galloway, Desmond Howard, it's as good a half of football as I remember seeing in quite some time.
I mean, complete domination. I think Chip Kelly right now is just in his bag. Everything he's dialing up is working. I give him a lot of credit. Coming out the gate, he wanted to get his star receiver, Jeremiah Smith, into the game quick. He got the ball in his hands early. He scored. He has 5 catches, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then once they did that, they started to lean on the running game. We saw Trevion Henderson have a long score. So offensively, they're doing anything and everything they want to do because they're controlling the line of scrimmage. And, Joey, they're picking on the Dutch secondary. Remember it was reversed last time these two teams met? Not this time.
There's nothing in this game that Ohio State hasn't dominated. You go on either side of the ball. And I don't know that I've ever seen an Oregon offense, and I mean any Oregon offense, look this confused and what this defense is doing to them. They're dominating up front, but on the back end, Dylan Gabriel's played a lot of football, and he literally looks like he doesn't understand what he's looking at. Like he doesn't know where to go with the ball. So when he does have time, you will see him try to like scramble. He's looking at a defense and can't find an open guy, and you're right. This is so different than the first time around. I don't know how Oregon rebounds. When you get your butt kicked, physically, it's one thing, but when you don't know what you're looking at and you can't figure that part out, I don't know how you rebound from that.
I think both things are happening right now, too. They're getting their rear ends kicked physically and mentally. They've been twisted inside out as well. Now, this is the second the college football playoff quarterfinal game scheduled for today. The game in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl between Notre Dame and Georgia has been postponed until tomorrow at 4 o'clock in light of the tragic circumstances, the terroristic act in Bourbon Street in the Quarter last night in which a man drove into a crowd of people and at least 10 people were killed, dozens were injured. That game has been postponed until tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, will be televised on ESPN.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz. You're watching the Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
Back here in Pasadena, one of the great traditions, performances of the respective marching bands, and we will now enjoy the Oregon marching band under the direction Eric Wiltshire. the Oregon Marching Band. Their performance here on the pristine grounds at the Rose Bowl. And it has not been the best day ever, at least not so far for the Ducks, but the band still looks like $1 million out there. We check in on our road to the championship, presented by Mercedes-Benz. And how about that Peach Bowl finish? 4th down, overtime, and Quinn Ewers finds Matthew Golden for the touchdown that kept Texas alive after they squandered a 16-point fourth quarter lead. Andrew Makuba, that's Desmond's guy,
yes, sir,
getting the interception, and Sark's team advances to the Cotton Bowl Buckeye Band when you come back. Great performance by the band, maybe a little bit behind what the Buckeyes did in the first half. What in the world can Oregon do to at least have a chance at a miracle, Joey?
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
Look,
go ahead.
all season long, I thought Georgia's defense was the hardest hitting defense in college football.
Yeah.
Ohio State's given them a run for their money the last 2 games they've played.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do when you're getting out hit, out physical, and everything you do has been wrong.
Right.
They got to get another playbook, Des.
I'm glad
the one they used in the first half ain't working.
No, I'm glad you mentioned Georgia, because the last time I saw a team get dominated like this in one half, it was Georgia, Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
We said halftime, me and Nick Saban, they have to take it one play at a time in the second half. That's what Oregon's going to have to do. More importantly, they're going to have to get some defensive stops. They have to try to find some stops. Double number 4. You got to put 2 guys on number 4.
Yeah, but they run for over 100 yards also.
But if I'm Dan Lanning, I'm in the locker room at halftime, I say, bro, we got to get it stops, and we got to go one play at a time. 34-8, that's the only option.
They'll need some explosive plays. If they can get back in it quickly, they'll get the ball first to start, and then doubling number 4 will be preferable to what happened here, Desmond. All by himself. Second half, Chris and Kirk have it when you come back.
Welcome to football's promised land, the Rose Bowl. Perfection on this New Year's Day. Smith breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes. Kabuka touchdown. Buckeyes on fire. It's a Crimson avalanche here in Pasadena. Yeah, from the first minute, it has been all Ohio State. Welcome back to the college football playoff quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl game, presented by Prudential. Margin is 26. Oregon finally getting on the board late in that second quarter. They will get the football to begin the third. And welcome back, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit. We're getting a glimpse of what the most talented roster in the country, I think Ohio State acknowledged, looks like when they put all the pieces together. And excuse me, clicking from the start here. Rewarding performance brought to you by Capital One. First minute of the game, this touchdown.
Yeah, it took Ohio State 3 plays. They really set the tone and give us a little bit of a precursor of what was to come. And it was number 4, Jeremiah Smith. And when you take Jeremiah Smith away, Ohio State, good job of locating other receivers. Emeka Buka with a big play. Another one to Jeremiah Smith. I mean, it's 24-0 in a blink of an eye. The running game really hadn't been used until Trevion Henderson goes the distance for another touchdown for the Buckeyes. Really all Ohio State until that last possession. where we saw Oregon able to put together a drive, rolled the dice, went for it there at the last play of the game in the second half, or the second quarter, and Gabriel scrambling, making a play, the touchdown to Holden.
So 4 touchdowns down. Oregon can try to build on what they did, Kirk, at the end of the half, but Gabriel's going to have to play, you would think, with urgency and with tempo really from the start in this possession here. And they'll begin from the 25. Holly?
Well, Oregon will be without 2 significant offensive weapons here for the second half. Their leading scorer or rusher, Jordan James, is out for the rest of this game. Also, wide receiver Evan Stewart got dinged in the first warm-up of the game. He has not played in this game. Evan Stewart, a big weapon for them, 48 receptions on the season, so 2 big guys are out. But Dan Lanning said when he came out of the locker room, there have been Rose Bowls like this before that turned epic. That last Oklahoma-Georgia Rose Bowl was 30-17 at the half. He's trying to get his kids to believe that a comeback is possible.
There was a 17-point comeback. It's the biggest in Rose Bowl history, but this is an even bigger chore. Evan Stewart, I talked to him pregame, Kirk. He seemed to be okay, not able to go today. And again, just like the last game, Ohio State's defense knocks the top back out of the game early.
Yeah, exactly right. And what we've seen from Ohio State is domination in the middle, and it's Tyleik Williams again. The job that he's doing, and really, I think that has a lot to do with. Look at his hands, look at his quickness. I mean, that guy's 335 pounds, moving around like that.
You call him Kung Fu Panda? Isn't that what Jack Sawyer said? He's so quick and so nimble and so explosive with his hands. Gabriel sacked, and that's Jack Sawyer off the edge. Without a running game to worry about, huge deficit. Look out for the Buckeye pass rush here.
They're getting them because of this score. You get them in obvious passing situations, and Sawyer in a one-on-one matchup, and again, utilizing the hands, that speed to power pass rush. Larry Johnson, a defensive line coach who's a Hall of Fame type of coach, has had so many great players for him, has got to be very happy with the way that defensive line has played the last 2 games.
And Oregon, instead of building on that score late in the second quarter, now faces a 3rd and 22. Gabriel weaving around, just trying to stay alive, and flips it near the marker. Coming back and making the catches just as low, and that gives him a chance to go for it on 4th down here.
And the only time we've seen Oregon make plays, great chop by Lowe coming off his route, coming back to help his quarterback. It's just when Dillon Gabriel's creative. I mean, the touchdown in the last drive was a lot to do. Most of the plays were not necessarily within the confines of the offense or the structure of the offense. It's him off schedule making plays and avoiding disaster. He did it again there on 3rd and long.
So a chance here to roll the dice and go for it in their own end. Gabriel keeper, and just on guts, he's able to move the sticks. It really wasn't there.
It was not there at all. He made the right read, but boy, did Caleb Downs do a good job. The read collapses, but watch 2 come into play right there. So he makes the right read with the defensive end collapsing on that zone read, so he pulled it. Caleb Downs knew that he would get that read, so he came down quickly, and he got that by maybe a half a yard, if that.
Gabriel is really strong, very powerful lower body.
Yep.
And you can see he was able to lower the shoulder just to get this drive going. Crossing route. Ferguson makes the catch and is slung down in Ohio State territory.
That's one of the first times I can remember Dillon Gabriel dropping back to throw the football and then finally finding a receiver that's running a route and able to locate him and put the ball out in front of him and gets the yards after the catch.
He got 17 that time. Quick throw in the sidelines to Whittington. So some momentum beginning to build.
I'm going back to that 3rd and 22 scramble to set up that 4th and a yard.
Yep.
Let's see what happens on the rest of this drive. But Dan Lanning's talking about this miraculous comeback and getting his guys to believe. And if that's going to even be a discussion, they need a touchdown on this drive.
Delayed handoff, and Whittington didn't really fool anyone. Just runs into a wall of white jerseys for not much.
That's just a, did you say a wall of white jerseys?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's exactly what it was. They're just not getting any push at all. And whether it's Jordan James back there or Noah Winnington, I mean, you're running into the backs of your offensive linemen. What's been impressive is Larry Johnson, man, he is rotating a lot of bodies, allowing them to stay fresh up in that front. Not just playing 4 guys.
Jaden Lamar, sophomore with just 23 carries coming into this game, is now in the backfield in this 3rd and 5. And Gabriel down the middle. Precise throw to Trayshawn Holden, and the 1st down.
Tell you what, I wondered if he was able to hold his ball, tight coverage by Ransom. I think he held it with that right hand, that right arm. He's able to secure it. Yep, right there before he hits the ground. That's all with his right arm. Another 3rd down play where the Ducks are able to step up. Tight coverage there by the Buckeyes secondary.
Play fake. Gabriel on the move again and flips it to Ferguson, who's open. Ferguson barrels down inside the 5. Again, it's Gabriel on the move creating.
Yep, once again, I mean, if they're going to get back in it, then that's exactly what's going to have to happen. He really does a good job of putting Sonny Styles right here in a tough spot. Are you going to stay with the tight end? You're going to take me from scrambling, gets caught in no man's land, in conflict. Good job of baiting him towards him and then dumping it to the talented tight end.
All of a sudden, there's life on the Oregon sideline. The players are up, bouncing around, crowding down this right end of the bench to see if Gabriel and the Ducks can punch it in.
How about Ferguson? He falls down and still able to get up and be a factor in that play. Great job.
1st and goal. Lamar knocked down after about a yard. Cody Simon in on the stop.
I know they scored at the end of the 1st half, but honestly, this is the first drive where it feels like you feel some urgency. You feel, like you said, a little bit of momentum. I know Will Stein there calling plays. Maybe he feels his quarterback's mobility a bit of an equalizer here to get a little bit of footing against this talented Ohio State defense.
9 completions in a row for Gabriel Kirk, going back to that touchdown drive at the end of the half.
And I really think that all that experience, 63rd career start, coming into play, not panicking, playing with urgency, but not panicking. They're going to call a timeout here.
Yeah, they have to. There wasn't enough urgency. The operation was a little slow. And the Ducks, again, minus their top running back, minus their top receiver, trying to stage the beginnings of a huge comeback if they can.
If you look at the last couple possessions, Oregon scored at the end of the 1st half. Dylan Gabriel, the one common theme is his ability to improvise, create, get away from that pass rush. There's the touchdown at the end of the half, last play of the half. Here's 3rd and 22, improvising, scrambling, good job of Lowe coming back to the ball. They converted the 4th down. There he is again on the move, finding Ferguson. Got a little bit of momentum going here. The ball inside the 5-yard line, but Dylan Gabriel, all that experience, making some plays here with his legs to get this passing game going.
Again, 2nd and goal, very, very difficult to muscle the ball into the end zone against Ohio State. Opponents all season long have failed when trying to do this.
You're going to have to work the edges. He has the ability to run and throw. You're going to have to work the perimeter. It's going to be tough between those tackles.
Whittington is the back. Gabriel, 1 touchdown pass short of equaling the all-time FBS record. And they test the middle and falling forward near the goal line. No signal yet. He's in. Touchdown. Whittington falls forward. And they go right at the strength of the Ohio State defense. And they cut into this huge lead. They'll kick the 1-point PAT here.
What a job, and a double team right in the middle. Watch this right here. Watch him be able to push Ty Hamilton. Double team up to the backer. There's the ability to kind of just try to find a way to dent that defensive line. We just said that not many teams have been able to do that against the size of Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton, and those linebackers getting downhill. But that time they got good movement.
You know what nobody's been able to do all year until then? Score a touchdown in the 3rd quarter against Ohio State's defense. That's the first all season. No advantage, the book says, to go for 2. So the PAT to make it a 19-point game. Only downside of that, Kirk, it took a lot of time.
That, and now, it's one thing to get Billy Gabriel down going. Now you got to get your defense against Jeremiah Smith and company going.
See if Ohio State can pick up where they left off offensively.
The CFP quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential, is brought to you by Capital One, what's in your wallet, and Taco Bell.
Ducks, LaMichael James, one of 3 inductees of the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. Congrats to Reggie Bush, Mark D'Antonio, and James. Taco Bell, Liv Moss Student Section of the Year contest. Today they're picking up the tab for students from each school. So the passionate student fans can come cheer on their teams. Student tickets hard to come by. You don't get that many.
No, not at all. But they're here, both sides.
See if they try to drill the ball off the chest of an Ohio State player. That 50 kickoff and stole a possession. And let's go to Stormy.
Well, Chris, Ohio State was dominant in the first half, but give the middle 8 to the Ducks. And Ryan Day told me before this game, he made his players aware the second half of the Rose Bowl is very different from the first half of the Rose Bowl. And he needs them to maintain their edge. He was hoping that would start with a stop on that first Oregon drive, but obviously didn't get it. Now, how will his offense respond? He said he really likes the play of his quarterback, Will Howard, in the first half. Explosive plays were the name of the game, most notably to his top target, Jeremiah Smith. 5 catches, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can they keep that connection rolling here, guys?
Well, they haven't had an answer for him yet. Single coverage from Muhammad, the bottom of the formation. They'll hand it off inside. Trevion Henderson muscles for about 3.
I think this is the first time that the Oregon fans, in fact, when we went to break after the touchdown, I don't know if Dan Lanning told the younger guys to turn around and get the crowd going. It's the first time the Oregon fan base, literally since maybe the pregame ceremony, has reacted and tried to be that 12th man for their defense.
They sure were in the first meeting at Austin. This is as effective a crowd as there is in the sport. Per capita noise cranked up now. Off the play fake, Howard to Abuko, who takes a shot immediately from Muhammad. He's short of the marker. It'll be 3rd down and about 3.
Yeah, Oregon's defense gets Ohio State to 3rd down. If you're just joining us, this first half for Ohio State, you look at their drive chart, what they're able to do. I mean, it's not just that they scored, it was completely dominating Oregon and how quickly. Look at this, 3 plays touchdown, 3 plays touchdown, 2 plays touchdown, another 1 play and a touchdown. Quick scores. They only punted 1 time in that first half.
7th 3rd down play of the game. They're 3 for 6. Howard straight back, pressured now on the move, hit as he throws, put the ball in harm's way. It's broken up. Tried to find Abuka, Muhammad in coverage, and Oregon gets a 3 and out. The first time they forced one today.
Well, Derek Harmon has had a great year, the transfer from Michigan State. This is the difference. You get him on the move. You twist, you slant, you move him away from that one-on-one block, and you give him a chance to use his quickness. That time he forced Will Howard out and allowed Oregon to get the Buckeyes off the field.
Tez Johnson, who's back in the game, he's the punt returner. Joe McGuire will kick it high enough to force the fair catch at the 25-yard line. So midway 3rd quarter, a flicker of hope for the Ducks as the sun sets on the San Gabriels. Saturday, Week 18 NFL doubleheader on ESPN and ABC. The AFC North race up for grabs. I'll be in Baltimore with Louis Riddick, Dan Orlovsky, Laura Rutledge, as we see if the Ravens can get it done against the struggling Browns. You can lock it up. And then it's going to be the Steelers and Joe Burrow and the Bengals in primetime. Get some insight on the Browns for me. Download that after the game.
You got it.
Here we go, Oregon. Trying to get closer, looking for a downfield shot. Flipped off the hands, deflected as he tried to find Ferguson. Guess it wasn't open deep, and Sawyer got a hand up.
Jack Sawyer's second time we've seen him. This time he's working initially through a double team, and then he gets up again. We were kind of talking to him again about left-handed quarterback. Does it affect you in any way, trying to bat those balls down? He kind of smirked and said, you know, I've done this, and I feel confident in my ability. I think
long arms, huh?
Comes down to his length and also just the timing, the athletic ability and instincts that he has.
Penn State batted down 3 of Gabriel's passes in the Big Ten championship game. Hadn't really been a problem all year till that game, and now he's sacked. Sawyer trying to wreck Oregon's comeback chances single-handedly.
Well, I keep talking about his presence in the middle, but just watch Caleb Downs and watch how he turns and looks up those crossing routes. There's just nobody open. There's such good communication, and they're in sync on that back end on anything that comes into their zone that Dillon Gabriel's holding onto the football because of the coverage downfield from Jim Knowles and his defense.
Third and extra long. Cody Simon of the Buckeyes. Defensive quarterbacks are bouncing around trying to get the defense set. Backing way off the line of scrimmage as Gabriel steps up and tries to create, and he'll be dropped again. It's Cody Simon. What a stand by Ohio State's defense to reestablish control.
And anytime on third down, with his ability to create, Ohio State has tried to come up with somebody that can deal with the ability for him to create. He's going to step up and now out, and Cody Simon right there doing what he does best, just making a play and being the leader for this Ohio State defense.
Didn't have a sack in the first meeting. Gabriel sacked only 13 times in 13 games coming in. That's 4 today. Luke Dunn punting from the end zone. Not a terribly long kick. Even the simple things have been a problem for the Ducks today. The roll works out okay, and Ohio State will take over at the 45. But that pass rush flexes for the Buckeyes, and the lead remains 19. Let's go inside the CFP, presented by Capital One. Last night in the Fiesta Bowl, James Franklin's team, 4 takeaways against Boise State. Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, great 1-2 punch. Good game from Drew Aller as well. How about this one? Texas led by 16. Arizona State clawed back to force overtime. It was a 4th down touchdown pass by Quinn Ewers just to get there, and they win it in double OT.
And really, Boise State and Arizona State both competed very, very well in those games.
First down throw to the edge, lobs it to Henderson, who makes the grab, picks up just a yard. So we'll show you the bracket brought to you by AT&T again. Because of the tragic attacks in New Orleans, the Notre Dame-Georgia game postponed until tomorrow at 4 Eastern time. And again, the winner here heads to Dallas in the potential road game against the Longhorns. Very tough path for either one of these teams. You mentioned Ohio State having to play a first-round game, then you play the #1 seed. Perhaps go to Texas and take on the Longhorns.
Yep.
Then go to Atlanta, where Georgia perhaps is lurking. First things first, though, trying to finish the job, and a big shot is delivered. It was Nico Reed coming up on the corner, makes the hit, and it's going to be 3rd down and 8 now.
Well, Tuioti out here does a good job against a tight end there. Kazmarek pushes that ball back inside. You had 2 tight ends there, both of them occupied, and it gives the secondary a chance to come up and make a play. Nice job there by Reed. They get him to another 3rd down here. Really, it's going to come down to, can they affect the rhythm and the timing? Can they get pressure on Will Howard?
Smith single coverage to the right. Howard looking in that direction, delivers a slant, pitch and catch. It's just pretty easy. They played off him and made him pay for 10 yards.
And last catch he made, I was just asking our guys up here, is a 43-yard touchdown with 10.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. They go back to him here on 3rd down with that cushion. What a tough ask that is for any quarters, especially if you give him a little bit of room there off the line of scrimmage. At time Manning giving him that room, and it's pitch and catch for Will Howard, throwing to his guy, Jeremiah Smith. Frustrated DB there, knocking the ball away.
171 receiving yards on his 6 catches so far. Howard Wonder if he'd take a downfield shot, loops it back across the body, and climbing and making the catch is Smith against Nico Reed.
I don't know.
Unreal.
I just had a feeling that they were going to start looking for him. He's been quiet. Like I said, it's been there's a great job of high pointing the ball, those long limbs, able to use the length, nice strong hands. By the way, when you shake his hand, it reminds me of Adrian Peterson when I met him as a true freshman, like a vice when you shake his hand. Strong hands, able to go up, secure that football and get the foot down. But did you feel like, where's 4 been? And of course, in a critical moment, they go right back to him for a couple big catches.
I'm told triple XL is the glove size if you're interested. 300-yard passing day for Howard, who hands it off to Judkins here. Judkins around the corner. They grab his face mask. Flags fly. It was Muhammad guilty, so tack on yardage after the run.
They're able to get to the edge, and Oregon with the face
Personal
mask
foul.
call here.
Face mask. Defense, number 7. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. An automatic first down.
That's the first penalty. Adam Savoie finally gets some airtime after almost 3 quarters of play. First penalty on either team, and he got his money's worth.
Yeah, he did right there with the right hand. We half the distance on top of the run. They were able to get to the edge there on that counter play. Ran that a bunch against Tennessee. Oregon lost the edge and unable to set the edge of that defense. Gave Judkins a lot of room around that left side.
So Ohio State threatening to answer here and extinguish whatever comeback hopes the Ducks have. Touchdown, put it back up 26. Under center. Toss sweep. Henderson has blockers and just gallops into the end zone. Again, Ohio State makes it look easy. Second touchdown for number 32 today.
Just outnumbered him into the boundary. Used the motion by the big tight end. Got numbers to their advantage. Just a wall of white jerseys. They went left on that counter play, and after the face mask, they went right back to that side and able to get to the edge again.
So Ducks got momentum. Fans are all juiced up. There's a little bit of belief. What do you do? Go back to number 4, as you said early in that drive. The throws to Smith set the tone, set the table for Henderson's touchdown run.
They go with that 12 personnel, meaning the 1 back and the 2 tight ends. This is Bennett Christian moving from the right to the left. Watch the Oregon defense. They don't get to the outside. They're trying to make adjustments. Then you see another tight end, Kaczmarek, going in motion. And think of the body count. Great block right here. Getting bodies turned to the inside. Look at them turn and get those Oregon bodies turned back to the inside. Now you have Kaczmarek. Good block on the outside by Ennis. The AT&T connected cam showing that Trevion Henderson gets into that end zone once again for a Buckeye touchdown.
That's the 5th touchdown drive. I believe they've all been 6 plays or less.
I think Ohio State felt that crowd from Oregon. They felt, okay, hey, we need to respond here. We need to answer here. After that 3 and out, they got back out in the field as an offense and went down and put another touchdown up.
Jump past Eddie George, their 47th career touchdown for the brilliant career of Trevion Henderson. Climbing the charts to number 3 all-time for Ohio State. Gabriel, speaking of climbing the statistical chart, still needing that 1 touchdown pass to get to 155 in his career, which would tie Case Keenum, who also played a 6-year career with Houston, played a bunch of years in the NFL. Still chasing that one. He's chased down some of Keenum's records in this prolific season.
Sorry to interrupt you. Just take that in. Even in a blowout, it still never gets old. The views, the beauty out here around this stadium.
What am I talking stats when the sun is?
Yeah. We got a San Gabriel Mountain moment here.
Quick pitch to the perimeter, and finally they involve Kenyon Sadiq. He's a really tremendous athlete that they can use in lots of different ways. They can hand off the ball to him. Barely looked his way today.
Yeah, first time. It's second target. First time he's had his hands on the ball. And we really thought coming in, as much as Terrence Ferguson is such a weapon for this offense, Sadiq has become a go-to target and really dangerous after the catch with his athleticism.
He scored the first 2 touchdowns against Penn State in that conference championship game. It's across the middle to Whittington for 8 more.
I really wondered, I think, big picture, would Ohio State keep their edge that they played with against Tennessee? I mean, they came out with an edge, eye of the tiger, us against the world mentality.
Batted down again by Sawyer. Are you kidding me? It's like Wembayama in there rejecting stuff.
That's 3 of them. And you know, with all the compliments, you wondered would they be able to play with that same energy. And Ryan Day said, hey, man, we're not talking at all. We didn't talk about energy against Tennessee. That just kind of happened organically. We're not talking about it against Oregon. We're talking about execution. We're talking about doing our jobs and going out there. And if we do what we know we can do, we feel that we can play with anybody and beat anybody in the country. So this team is, to me, shown up with that same chip on their shoulder they played with last time out against Tennessee, which is tough to do.
3rd down off the play fake. Gabriel tries to scramble for it. He'll be slung down for a loss by Lathan Ransom. The veterans of this Ohio State defense we've talked about today, to a man, they really stepped up and delivered today.
Yeah, it is a veteran defense, and he's one of the leaders on the back end, and he comes free. Whittington tries to pick him up, has a little hold there, doesn't slow him down, still able to come up with that sack. And how fired up is he? He's played in so many big games. So many of these guys on this defense have played in big games for Ohio State.
Ransom played in that CFP semifinal, heartbreaking loss to Georgia.
Yep.
Goes back that far. So 5 sacks now for the Buckeyes. Obviously, that's a season high against Gabriel. Only giving up 13 coming in. Luke Dunn with the punt, and it's fair caught by Ennis at the 15. So here, more about Will Howard and his attitude, kind of bouncing back from difficulties.
Man, I still have nightmares about that play. You know, I still run it over in my head. What could I have done better? You know, and I get a chance to, you know, go out there and right the wrong from that game. And you don't get second chances a lot in life. You know, it just doesn't happen. The way that we lost that game, you know, it still hurts. It still hurts all of us.
Much more focused, really, on the loss of Michigan, but he did not play well. Really, the entire offense struggled, so he had to bounce back from that. The last game against Tennessee, and responding again very strongly today. Judkins, ooh, looked dangerous. Their flags come in late behind the play. He's able to scoot for about 11. This may be the first penalty on Ohio State today.
Yeah, holding call, I think on 89, Kaczmarek.
Holding, offense, number 89. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. It's 1st down.
We appreciated the honesty, really the vulnerability that Howard showed us in talking about bouncing back from that. He was barbecued by Ohio State fans for that clock management situation.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk with him one-on-one for about 15-20 minutes, and he really did open up. He talked about the whole flight home, how he just couldn't stop thinking about it. He deleted all his social media apps. He got home at the Woody Hayes facility, just sat in the Woody Hayes facility by himself, laying down in the indoor, just staring up at the ceiling. And he reached out to his mom, who was flying back home to Pennsylvania, and she changed her flight from Portland back to Columbus just to be with him for a couple days and cooking meals and just be with him. And he just said, man, I needed to be with my family. I needed to be with my friends and my teammates, and it really helped him get through that and then the game at the end of the year. So he wanted this chance tonight to get back at Oregon, and he's playing really, really well once again through 3 quarters.
Very confident from the start, very command throughout. And at the end of 3 quarters, Ohio State matching Oregon's touchdown early in the period to extend the lead. 41-15. 4th quarter coming up from Pasadena. You're watching the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential on ESPN. If you didn't see at the start of the game and we're watching the end of the Texas-Arizona State game, we showed this play in question here. Again, 6 seconds to go, down 1, not in field goal range. Howard's trying to get close enough to try a field goal. Doesn't get down in time, though. Said he thought he could slide. That's the play we're talking about, Kirk, that led him to being so distraught to bounce back. And very different vibe tonight from 18.
And what can't get lost on any of us is how well he played that game. You know, until that last moment where the clock got away from him. And if you include the 7 quarters, that game in Eugene and tonight, he's completed 75% of his passes for 627 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 on the ground. It's pretty good football.
Judkins knocked down. Stormy?
You guys have detailed how much that moment impacted him. Will Howard said he was stuck in his thoughts, racking his brain about everything he could have done differently. And he said he really credited his offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, as well for helping him that very next day, saying, let's put on the tape, go through it, flush it, you've got to move on. And you also mentioned his mother, Maureen, who answered the phone at 3:30 o'clock in the morning, her time, so that she could just be that sounding board for Will Howard. He said she has always been that for him.
That's life as a quarterback's parent right there. Even though you're up by however many points, holding on for dear life to the end of the game.
Howard to be smacked and sacked for the first time, hit by Derek Harmon. You're right. They got a big lead, and they'll be holding their breath because they're
yeah. And it's not about anything to do with injury. It's about just keep playing well. Really touching to hear what Stormy's saying about the offensive coordinator going through. Hey, let's go through it. Played really good. We'll flush it. Move on to the next week. Same with the Michigan game. Go through it. Throw a couple picks. Let's move on. We got a playoff. Flush it. You know, when you go through trials, it really allows you to grow so much in life and as a football player.
Tez Johnson makes a fair catch at the Ducks 49. 13:36 left in Pasadena. Someday when you retire, you call on your 50th Rose Bowl. Get you up with a Goodyear blimp. You would love to spend New Year's Day above this place. Taking innovation to new heights for a century. Happy 100th to the Goodyear blimp. NHL featured on Saturday and Sunday on ABC, noon Eastern time. Blue shirts come down the turnpike, take on the Caps. Rangers will be in Chicago to play Blackhawks at 3 Eastern on Sunday.
How's your ball club doing? Yeah.
All right. Slow start, but they've gotten rolling.
Jackets are hanging in there.
Yeah.
Jackets are battling around 500.
Ducks double pass potential here, and not even that works. Complete to the bench. Gabriel was the intended receiver, and Buckeye says, nah. Kenyatta Jackson is waving his finger in the air, said we were ready for that one.
Yeah, they were all over that.
Dante Moore, the backup quarterback. And the next guy, former Chip Kelly, UCLA Bruin quarterback, they snuck him in there, but they were all over it. It shows you they're still focusing up big in the fourth quarter.
They sure are. Dialed in, not letting up at all.
Slant, and the catch is made by Gary Bryant, just his second catch of the season. Again, with Evan Stewart not able to go at all. It's been different guys for Oregon having to step up and make plays. And Tez Johnson's been in and out a bit in the lineup. There's
close being tipped again by Cody Simon. Got through there. You're right, with Stewart down and you get down like this, makes it, it's already hard, right? But not having one of your best players.
Need 4. And the catch is made by Ferguson. Tight end is such a big part of the offense. Took a while to get going. Picked up 10 there. They moved the sticks in front of Igvinosin.
There's Ferguson on an ISO, and Dylan Gabriel unable to create. He had to get the ball out of his hands in a hurry. Got absolutely drilled by Tyleik Williams after he let that ball go.
Ducks, no surprise, playing with some tempo. Gabriel flushed again, looking for somebody, and has to just throw it away.
With it's been this kind of night for Dylan Gabriel. If he doesn't scramble, I'm telling you, Tyleik Williams is showing the NFL, if they didn't already know, with what he can do in the interior for a big body playing with such quickness tonight.
Is there a place for 325-pounders who are quick in the NFL?
Yeah, I think there is. Okay. I think there is. This just in. They'll take him.
Quick pitch, Holden on the edge. Slippery, he breaks free. That's down before he lost the ball. Picked up about 7.
One of the things that, you know, as Ohio State moves on, and you think about their matchups, I'll tell you after this play.
Gabriel again, plenty of time with the 4-man rush. Now running out of time. Chase down from behind. Look out. Caden Curry, the backup defensive ends, a junior, makes a play. They sack him for the 6th time. It's 4th down.
I mean, you can look anywhere you want to look. All these jerseys, the green jerseys, are covered. But look at Cody Simon again. I mean, look at the receivers. Everywhere you look, there's just no one to throw the football to. There's one breaking late, but by then he just doesn't locate him.
Need 11 to keep the football. Gabriel, long way to go for Tez Johnson. He's still dancing around. It works out. Yards after the catch have been hard to come by. Picked up some there and still alive in this drive.
It's a big part of what we thought we'd see in the game. Far right, Ohio State sinking because 4th down and long. Now it just comes down to trying to tackle in space. He's able to get around Hancock. Simon knew exactly where he needed to go, and that's been a big part of Oregon's offense this year. In fact, last time against Ohio State, he had 7 catches and 75 yards. Yards after the catch is his specialty.
That was the longest catch he's had today, Kirk.
Yeah.
12 yards, just 5 for 32 for the electric playmaker for the Ducks. Harums to the carpet there after the dart was off the hands of Whittington.
They went empty again, put Whittington just kind of on a delayed route. But that was a fastball. He's just back there because of the pressure. You got to get the ball out. And the running back, who's got pretty good hands, the ball got on him in a hurry, not able to bring it down.
Gabriel tries to escape, flips it very late to the perimeter to Whittington. A little tricky downfield pitch. Improvisation sets him up 1st and goal.
Hey, when you have 63 career starts, the most impressive thing is he got out of there in a hurry because he felt JTT closing in on him. But the awareness to see Whittington out there, and the Ohio State defender had collapsed down on top of him, Sonny Styles, and he just flipped it out there because he's all alone. Good heads-up play.
1st and goal. There's a timeout on the field. Not sure if they're checking that out, just reviewing to see if it was a backwards pass. And we'll sort that out and come back after this timeout. It's in the right hand, and we'll find out when we come back. The suspense, no doubt, killing you.
The CFP quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl is presented by Prudential. Retirement is more than a lump sum. It's the sum of your life's work. Help protect it with Prudential. And in part by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Well, replay has wiped away that piece of improv by Gabriel. Watch the release point. He's beyond the line of scrimmage, so it cannot be a forward pass.
At about the 22. So right at 22.
Touch point is 21, so it did go forward. It looked live like it was a sideways flip.
Yeah.
But instead of that, it's an illegal forward pass and moves the ball back 5 yards, and it's a 3rd down and 13 now. Back from the 27.
Did you ever watch this game when you were a kid and think, is this Fantasy Island? Like, where are they playing this game? It's dark, it's cold, it's freezing outside. Where is this?
Pressure comes. Gabriel for the end zone. Caught for a touchdown by Trayshawn Holden. 27-yard strike, and that will tie Gabriel with Case Keenum, the all-time career touchdown pass record, 155.
Well, they went with that wide bunch look, and Holden had off coverage. You know, Holden, of course, was the player from Oregon that spit in the face of an Ohio State player. Didn't get a chance to play against Ohio State. This time, Gabriel had enough time to be able to get this ball off. Sawyer actually closed in on him, but a good route and a good job of finishing.
Look out, Kirk. We got trickery here. This is Terrence Ferguson. Direct snap as they try to go for two. Kind of a zone read handoff. And Kenyon Sadiq, we talked about this versatile weapon who hasn't been involved today. He stopped short.
Here's the touchdown. Big against big. Igbenog's in the corner, 6'2", 193 pounds. Like I said, playing off. For whatever reason, has his body turned to the sideline. Made it very easy for Holden to be able to give him an outside move. And then up. There's maybe a hold there that Oregon got away with. Sawyer almost got the pressure. But there's a perfectly thrown football. And Holden is a big man. Like I said, about 215 pounds at 6'3". And that ball hit him right in stride for the touchdown.
Gabriel not going to be concerned about records in a game that's going to be very disappointing for him, ending, barring a 3-touchdown comeback here in the last 10 minutes, ending the longest and one of the most brilliant careers we've ever seen for any quarterback in college football. Again, you know, closing in on 20,000 total yards. They'll line up for the, what you'd think, an onside kick with Andrew Boyle in there. 20,000 total yards, rushing and throwing, and more than 18,700 passing yards in his career.
Bro, you're doing stats, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm just mesmerized by the screen. It's 31 and cold in Columbus. I don't know what's it in Eugene right now.
We each have our roles out here.
No, I know, but enough.
Oh, that gets away. He's got to cover that. Goes back and grabs it at the 12, and then Henderson goes out of bounds. Oh, there's Peter Herbstreit, director of Snuggles. Is that the?
I think that's what they called him. Yeah, he did his. He got a credential, just like Ben did last year.
I would call this a meteoric rise for him. He hasn't been on the scene that long.
LSU, Alabama, the first time he came out.
Look at him, Secretariat charging out. Look at this guy.
He goes right.
Look out! This guy doesn't know what's coming here.
Excuse me, sir.
Pardon me. Oh, good energy, man.
Oh yeah. See what Chip Kelly goes with. A little under 10 minutes to go. Up, like you said, by 20 points. Combination of staying aggressive, working the clock.
Well, that touchdown able to keep a flicker of hope unless Judkins can extinguish it. What the Ducks need is what they have been able to do all day. They need really a takeaway, but an 18-yard play there.
Once again on the edge. Watch the block out here by Emeka Ibuka. Such an unselfish player, gets close to a hold. Anytime you see a running back bounce like that, you wonder if there's a hold on the edge by a tight end or a receiver. They allow him to play clean. And again, these running backs, you get them on the edge. Both these guys, Junkins and Henderson, they cover a lot of ground in a hurry.
They've each covered 81 yards today. Henderson had that big 66-yard sprint, that one-play touchdown drive. Judkins averaging almost 6 yards a carry. He's 14 carries today. We get a lot less than that this time. Runs into a clogged middle.
You know, we were talking about Will Howard and what he went through, and everybody is. They do their own thing as players, but we talk about portal a lot and NIL and how players go from one school to the other. And Will Howard left Kansas State to go to Ohio State, and I just think it's what he went through this year, what he had to go through as a starting quarterback, and what he endured will really help him as he goes into the NFL and goes into his future, because he learned how to deal with that adversity. And like I said, whether it's in your life, my life, anybody's life, you grow more going through those times in life than you do going through the easy times.
End around. Look out, Henderson trying for a second long touchdown, and the third today is knocked down in Oregon territory.
Yeah, nice wrinkle here. They line him up there in the slot. Perfect job of catching the ball, low snap, get it up into the air. And then Henderson in that slot kind of gets lost by this Oregon defense. Like I said, Junkins, it's like an outside zone play, even though it's a flip where he's coming over from the slot. Great blocks again on the edge. That time, instead of going outside, that crease opened up behind the tight end block, so he cut it up underneath and found room to go.
goes as a pass reception of 18 yards. Smith on the right edge. It's Howard running all the way and now just sliding down. Keeping that clock moving. 7.5 to go until Texas time for the Buckeyes. Again, a week from Friday is that semifinal with the Longhorns await. They're going to play next season in Columbus. I think it's August 30th. Tasty early season game. But why wait till then?
They've had some great games over the years. 05 was a great game in Columbus. They played again in 06.
Game day was down there.
Yeah.
One of the biggest games in that stadium's history.
Yeah.
Judkins plowing forward.
Things about Will Howard, it's tough to walk in, in this transfer portal era and become the guy. He won his team over, and we talked with Jack Sawyer on the defensive side of how they were pushing on him and kind of late hit, a couple late hits, late pushes in spring ball just to kind of see how he would react. And they love to see the fight in him. They love to see that competitive spirit. And right away, Jack Sawyer, as a four-year starter, looked around at each other and said, guys, we got a quarterback here. We got a leader here. It's interesting to hear that from the defensive perspective.
Yeah, it sure was. Across the middle to the hands of Henderson. You're not supposed to hit the quarterback, right? But you got to, oh, my bad. Sorry, give him business there.
Little push,
see
little shove.
What would he do?
It reminded me of the story that Justin Jefferson shared with you and I in 2019 season when they played Clemson in the national title about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had left Ohio State to go down to LSU, and they said they found out a quarterback when he and Patrick Queen and some of the other linebackers got into
they wanted to fight
altercation, but Joe Burrow stepped right back and fought back, and Justin Jefferson looked at Jamar Chase and said, looks like we got our guy. So quarterbacks can, different ways of winning a team over.
Fight back, but don't throw punches right with that right hand anyway.
Exactly.
And this punt's going to check out. Oh, it was knocked into the end zone there, so a chance to down it slips away. Ryan Day's defense back on the field, still protecting a 20-point lead. Celebration of the Dylan Gabriel career again. 155 with his 2 today, tying Case Keenum for most career touchdown passes, still chasing in pass yards and total yards. Like Keenum, played 6 years. He played at 3 different schools. One of the most interesting characters, most deepest thinkers I've ever come across covering this sport. He's really an amazing personality, quite goofy and funny. You know, he does impressions of coaches around the team, but very cerebral and thoughtful. You know, going forward, Kirk, what do you make of his chances? He got the draft grade nobody wants to see, UFA, after last season. Undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
He came back. That kind of made him mad.
Well, it's good. It should make him mad. I mean, he's undersized, so I think that's where, you know, you're a lot of times your ranking and the number you get back has to do with your physical attributes. Right. I think 63 career starts in college, doing it at UCF, different set of circumstances. Going to OU, different set of circumstances, going up to Eugene. He's obviously going to get a look. His accuracy is very good.
That's a catch, by the way, one-handed.
Yeah, nice catch.
I mean, so 8 ranked quarterback prospects in this draft class. You saw the graphic there. AT&T connected cam.
Great catch.
Umpires had. Brilliant catch.
I guess we're going to look at that great catch. Give it another.
So continue with your thought.
No, I like him. I mean, I just think it's tough to imagine him going up to that level where
previous play is under further review.
They're in one hand they're looking for guys that are bigger. On the other hand, the way the game's evolving, you're seeing guys that are built more and more like him that are having success. So he'll get a look, and his cerebral approach. He's a big prep guy. He can move around, which helps him in the modern game in the NFL, and he's accurate. So all those things and the experience he brings and his personality and how he fits into the room. A lot of times when you're looking for that second or third guy, it's how he fits in the room, helping the main guy. And I think he can definitely help teams out.
Bill Lamagna is ignoring you. He's staring at the monitor. He's going to wave
that off. As good as it looked.
Heck of a job by Whittington trying to control the ball against his thigh pad there, but looked like the ground did aid in control. You know, he says that, quote, accuracy is a beautiful thing, and you can't teach touch. You either have it or you don't. He values that quality in himself very highly. Obviously, at the whiteboard, he's going to have an incredible understanding. He's going to be phenomenal in those interviews. Yep. Just can you get past the height?
I go back to 63 career starts just based on all these NFL guys that I talk to. That's the one position that the more experience you have,
after further review,
they're looking
on the
for
field
that.
Stands.
Oh,
there you go.
You could build a Lamagna.
But they're looking for experience, and who has more experience than 63 starts?
In the meantime, 5 minutes more in this college career. These two quarterbacks, of course, who came out of the portal hoping to be the triggerman for incredibly talented offenses and just distribute to the playmakers. Both of them had kind of a similar assignment being done very different ways. And Gabriel just leans back and heaves it into the bench. The receiver broke it off.
Tuimoloau just destroyed him. I can't believe he got that football off. I'll tell you, the guy that's really had a tough game is the transfer from Rhode Island, who's in his second year, Johnny Cornelius, the right tackle. He's been up against Tuimoloau. He's been up against Jack Sawyer a lot, and they have gotten by him with power, bull rush, speed off the edge. Moves where that was a spin move outside back to the inside.
That was Connerly's, the other tackle. It was first team all conference, 76.
Yep.
Call intentional grounding. We couldn't hear Adam Savoy's mic. Makes it third down and about 14. Haven't officially put it on the board yet. Yeah, fourth down and 14. No, third. Now back to third. They got it right. Third and 14. And they get him again. That's Cody Simon, who's been everywhere. Number 0 has been an eraser for Ohio State today.
Yeah, he's done everything, whether it's been rushing the quarterback, sitting back in coverage. Really just a good job of playing really a total game for this Ohio State defense. Here he is in a spy mode. And again, just a guy that's fought through a lot, the epitome of what it means. James Laurinaitis, the Ohio State former linebacker, now a current linebacker coach, cannot say enough great things about his approach. And another guy that had to fight through a lot of injuries throughout his career has had just a career night here in the Rose Bowl.
Again, they sack a guy 8 times tonight. Have been sacked 13 times all season, once per game on average.
Yeah, he's a guy that, like I said, did a little bit of everything today, whether it's been stepping up in the gap early in this game, showing his speed, sideline to sideline, able to play in coverage, just the feel. He almost stepped in front of that, came up with an interception. He spied a few times on third down. When Gabriel, who's made some plays with his feet, is trying to step up and around, it's been number 0 right there. So the leader of the defense, the green dot, has been more than just a communicator and a leader. He's been a playmaker. There's James Laurinaitis right there, fired up about how his linebackers have played tonight, led by Cody Simon.
He's always fired up, isn't he? Laurinaitis. And off to Henderson, who's still in the game here, plowing forward.
Just want to look at this game and think, much like Tennessee, the takeaway for me as we get ready for Texas and Ohio State, line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. The offensive line, once again, with a stellar game. No sacks. 1 tackle for a loss. They had 167 yards rushing. They gave Will Howard all kinds of time to be able to make big plays. Jack Sawyer in the defensive line, 8 sacks, 4 batted balls, minus 26 yards rushing. That's all starting with the domination at the line of scrimmage by that Ohio State defensive line. So both sides, as Sark and Texas get ready, it's going to be a battle that they're going to have to figure out at the line of scrimmage, because Ohio State back-to-back games, that's where they've been most dominant.
And that Texas defense, which was the best in the SEC all season, again looking a little bit vulnerable. Arizona State able to, I mean, they heavily outgained them, had the ball a lot more than Texas did today. Not a great performance by the Longhorns, a lot for Sark to look at going ahead.
On paper, that's been a strength of Texas. I mean, if you look at the Texas defensive line, the interior, the edge speed that they have, it's been a strength. We'll see how it goes next game. And same thing could be said about the offensive line with Jake Majors leading the way for that as a center. I mean, they've been strong. So it'll be fun to see that matchup. And if this trend continues for Ohio State, how well they have played. And Chip Kelly, just the way he's called plays, as much criticism that he took as a play caller in that Michigan game, these last two games, the plan that he's put together, how aggressive he's been, the creativity with different formations, confusing the defense of Tennessee, and now tonight Oregon, getting Jeremiah Smith, who obviously you're going to throw the football to him, but still moving him around, creating one-on-one matchups to allow Will Howard to find number 4 and make a bunch of big plays both last week and again tonight.
A lot of layers in that one. You got, Sarkisian calling plays for Texas, Chip Kelly on the Ohio State side, Pete Kwiatkowski, salty defensive coordinator for the Longhorns.
It'll be good.
Have more time to talk about that. 2 minutes to play in the Rose Bowl. Buckeyes cruising toward Texas.
Back to you in Pasadena.
Day still coaching, Scott. Final 2 minutes here, and he'll want his team to finish efficiently and strong. The starters are still in there. Interesting note, you look at the 3 quarterfinal games played so far.
75, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Supan Shah, researcher, putting out conference champions 0-3 so far. Now, Boise State, obviously, and Arizona State were underdogs in those games. Slight underdog today, Big Ten champion Oregon, but conference championships not meeting a whole lot in the quarterfinals.
How about this? Interesting thought. All 3 teams that had the bye got jumped on early after a long layoff. Boise fell behind 14-0. Arizona State down 17-3. Oregon down 34-0. Goes back to that old adage about rest versus rust. Do you want all that time off to get everybody healthy, which is great, but you get out of your rhythm, you get out of your routine, and you wonder if maybe that impacted those teams in any way.
Now you got me curious what's going to happen tomorrow afternoon. And again, if you haven't heard, the Sugar Bowl being played at 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Will Georgia struggle early, perhaps, against the Notre Dame team that,
if that trend
against Indiana?
Yeah. Something I'm sure Kirby's doing everything he can these last few weeks to guard against. So you talk about a team that really needed some rest. We had Georgia quite a bit down the stretch, and not only was it Carson Beck, who was obviously out, we wish him the best, but they had a lot of players, a lot of teams that were dinged up.
Interesting to see how Gunnar Stockton performs. He came in and clearly sparked the team against Texas in the SEC championship game. Now he steps in. His first career start is a playoff game. And the guy who drives that 40-year-old pick-em-up truck is moving on.
And there's Will Howard getting his revenge, which he wanted. He was about the team. He was about winning this game, but he also wanted an opportunity, as well as he played in that first game against Oregon, for it to come down to that last play. And for a lot of people, for that to be their memory and for his team to lose, he wanted a chance, whether it was the Big Ten championship or the playoff. Look at that. Look at that expression. He wanted another chance to go against Oregon, and he got it. You don't always get those second shots. He got it. He took advantage of it and won the Rose Bowl here against Oregon.
Most of those 319 passing yards in the first quarter. He came out just like against Tennessee, hit that downfield shot early, got the big play to Smith, and you already have confidence coming in, but you get start like that, Kirk. He just built on it.
Yeah, and I think the plan put him in a really good spot to be able to attack the Oregon defense. I think Ohio State was incredibly confident that they had the matchups and receivers that they could win downfield. That was just a mismatch where Chip Kelly got Jeremiah Smith matched up one-on-one against a free safety. Chip just stopping by on his way down.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of hugs in the field. The coach's booth is just on the field.
It's funny. I was just saying Chip Kelly got Jeremiah Smith. I look over to my left, and there we
could have grabbed him, put him in, and get a headset on. First ever in-game coordinator interview, right?
Oh, that was funny. Well, it's weird. this is usually the culmination, the confetti on the stage. They're still going to do that, but, you know, it's a pat on the back, and it's get on the plane, and it's head back, and you're already in game mode prep for Texas.
And the lowest of lows is where they began the postseason, right? That crushing home field loss to Michigan. Did not play well, really, in either phase. Manhandled, out physical by Michigan. Get that chance in that home playoff game to clobber Tennessee. Come to the Rose Bowl in what was considered a toss-up rematch game. Get your revenge. Ohio State overwhelming today. And look out, Longhorns, because the Scarlet and Gray redemption tour arrives in Texas for the semifinals with serious steam. And for the top seed undefeated team, Dan Lanning could not have seen this knockout coming. No one could have, really.
No, not as easy as it was. I thought Dan Lanning, a touch of class there, going right over, straight to Ryan Day, right in his face, shaking his hand and congratulating him and wishing him the best down the stretch these next few games.